Hey, that's really loud. Nice to see everybody, and I hope everybody's back from their various illnesses, both mental and physical. And let's get right to it here today, guys. I don't have a lot of time to play around. I got the AC on right now. Looks like you guys are getting another storm. Sorry about your luck.
Are you ready, babe?
Hey, can you drive? I got some work to do.
Okay. This place is sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
Come on, we're here. Look around. Dude, look. Check out these crazy rocks.
You know what's crazy is like, how come this thing is not connecting? Bluetooth not on?
Not even looking at the snow. Well, we're home.
Finally, I get some Wi-Fi.
I love it.
Are you ready, babe?
All right, and let's see. Is there more? Yeah, there probably is.
What happened? I was sitting there smoking some weed I got from right here down the road, and all I do was smoke. And that's all I was smoking. The motherfucker had to put something in it because the shit made me feel weird. And then that was it. I was sat at the table, and the motherfucker lunged at me with a knife right there. It's laying on the table. It's like a steak knife.
This happened inside?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you say you're feeling funny. You want them to at least check your vitals, make sure everything's okay?
Yes, I need medical attention. Yeah, like now.
Yeah. Hey, come up this way. Where was the knife at originally?
Do me a favor and just sit back down, bud.
Oh, the knife? Yeah, it was over here.
You're good. Just hang out there, bud.
Oh. What? Junior?
Yeah. Where's Junior?
Ronnie Junior right here.
Ronnie. Okay. What is
that?
Those are ears.
Those are ears.
Oh. Can I see your gun, bro?
No. Hey.
Get out!
What are those? Those are ears. All right, nice to see everybody. Dan the man, my girl, batshit crazy up in here. All right, this is it.
Oh my gosh, it's bright. A lot of light. Shout out Thomas Edison. He would have loved flashlights. No, it's cool. Not good with guys. What I don't know. Like, a guy isn't gonna tell you, but I know I'm not good at hand jobs just because all my protein shakes are clumpy, and like I want to get better, so I'll just like watch porn, but like for educational purposes, obviously. And all I've learned is that I like incest porn, cause like at least you know they love each other, right? I don't know. I guess I'm just a romantic. and it sucks being a romantic cause like I won't see red flags in guys. Like, I won't see a guy with dyslexia. I'll just see a guy who knows a little bit of German. Or like, I won't see a guy with anger issues. I'll just see a guy who can protect me from drywall. It's not good at all. But,
Wow. That is what we love. A Star is Born, ladies and gentlemen.
oh my gosh, it's bright. A lot of light. Shout out Thomas Edison.
I just took a blue chew.
Oh my god!
Sister, what?
Is he gonna deliver?
They really spring that one on you at the last second right there. Welcome in, everybody. It's Monday night. I hope you're doing your thing. I got a confession to make, and it's not a good one. We'll get to it. This was supposed to be a part of the video. I'm doing it. Okay, let me... Hold on. Now I've got a copyright strike already. Hold on. Let me put this... Let's pretend like I didn't totally fuck everything up. All right. It's enough, Rockford. Come on, man. Chill out, bro. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're not too bothered by us getting put off. And I gotta turn this AC off. Oh, it's just too much, you know. Oh my goodness. Twizzlestick's here. Tony's here. I haven't shown Tony in the last couple videos, so I just wanted him to make an appearance. He's been holding the camera. He's been doing camera work. He's my cameraman right now. So that's where we're at. All right. Well, let's get a round of applause in the chat because Echoes of Clarity was back at it again. Yay! She had a great show today. She is a great creator, actually. You know, she was the one who found out that the pain thing was happening. The pain wasn't working there no more. I'm going ghost. I'm ghosty. Tony wants to be on camera more is the problem. And he's fighting me now. I have a good cup of hot, well, it's cold, cocoa coffee going on here. It's so tasty. I just had some Publix fried chicken. That was pretty nice. And, yeah, and Miss Potts did such a great show that I'm not even going to make her come on the show again tonight. That's 2 weeks off in a row, Miss Potts, so you owe me. Let's start not with Miss Potts. We're supposed to be right here. And let's start with something else. I think this was also supposed to be part of the fun here. Here's your moment of Zen. And that's actually the view from Twiz's bedroom. So he has to look at that every day. And let's see what else I have. I have a couple things here. This is supposed to be part of it. I really... See, when you do the little Kane thing live, it's not as easy as it looks. Now you see what's really going on in the world of sports.
Back on the line now.
Front wheel doesn't touch down. Oh, no. Big problems at Chris Matheson. That's nasty.
Oh my goodness, off the bike and tumbling like a rag doll. He's up on his knees.
Wow. That is a tough racer. That is incredible.
Alright, and yeah, I make it look easy, I know. And that's why you keep coming back. Heather, how did this get...
Pretty cool.
Oh my gosh.
Got insanely sharp claws, talons.
Heather.
Oh my gosh, you want to see them underwater?
I don't know what she... Oh, it's the turtle. Okay. Well, that's a good one, Heather. Thank you for that. She gets in the back room sometimes. I never know what she's going to put in there. Mark and Betty, hello. Good in the morning or evening or whatever it is over there tonight to you. And welcome in, everybody. This is the confession I have to make here coming up. Yeah. And so I'll move me here real quick. This is Kevin Grass. And he was my art teacher in college. And he used to ride his bike to class on RedRuM University. We call it RedRuM. And it's now SPU, SPCU, whatever. And he was hit and killed by a truck the other day. And his wife used to drive him back from school because they worked together. And so the memorial...
We got lucky when it came
is
to
on
Hurricane
the
Irma,
15th.
and Hurricane Michael became a Category 5 in less than 36 hours. So instead of worrying about boarding up your windows, be prepared.
Here.
With WeatherTight, you can put no money
This is our
down,
local
saving you
guy
one of our
here.
interest-free
He always
programs.
asks you to bring
react
his
to a
cookies.
hurricane. Prepare for one.
For his windows. I don't know. They are both... this is a cool story. Check this out real quick.
Special mix of traffic and smog. But here's a question you probably haven't asked yourself while Instagramming outside the Beverly Hills sign. What's under my feet right now? No, not a Starbucks. Go deeper. You might think the biggest secret in Beverly Hills is which A-lister lives where, but it's actually this. Some of the buildings you're walking past every day aren't what they seem. They're fake, not like influencer with a filter fake, but legitimately fake. What if I told you those beige office buildings, synagogues, and even islands are hiding oil wells? Yep. Right in the heart of one of the fanciest zip codes in America, there are secret pumping operations pulling up thousands of barrels of oil. But why would they hide oil wells? How did this even happen? And most importantly, how does this connect to a school with the most ironic building name ever? Stay tuned because this story gets weirder by the second, and trust me, you'll never look at Beverly Hills the same way again. Oil derricks. Instead of beachgoers in Santa Monica, there were oil pumps. And instead of influencers on Instagram, there were like still influencers, but they were just covered in crude oil instead of spray tans. Back then, oil was everywhere. People were so used to it that they were voting to install pumps in their own backyards. Imagine blowing out the candles on your birthday cake only to have your wish drowned out by a 30-foot oil derrick in your yard. That's not a party, that's an OSHA violation.
Pretty crazy, right? Wild stuff. So yeah, I hope he rests in peace. Kevin Grass, my teacher. Okay, so thanks for listening, guys. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate all the hard work you guys put into this case. This is Miss Bubbly Waters, and this is what I was saying in the title there, that you'll never be the same after seeing it. Because she pulled out of her little hat there quite a thing today. And if you missed it, I'm going to play it.
Okay. I'm going to scroll forward. Forward we go. Where it stops, well, we know. They're all busy doing the thing, getting there. Speculation.
Almost.
Oh, where am I at? Okay, you guys. It's not going to let me go? Okay, there we go. You know, she went up to, look at the counter for...
Can I get it?
I'm going to put it right out here.
Okay.
They're 6 to 7 ounces. 3 is going to be over a pound of food.
I'll just do 2 then.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, not at all. Yeah, the range of tacos is vast.
Okay, so I want you guys to notice too that these 2 Latino girls right here, they are the first ones to pull up their phone. They do it in the very beginning. In fact, I scrolled past that a little far, but you'll be able to see it because the video will be linked here, so you'll be able to see it. But they are the first ones, so they knew before the other people around there, from what I could tell.
93.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Grumpy.
Yeah. St. Mill, if you're here at 2:30 when we leave and there's something, we give it to people. But
Grumpy or happy? One big burrito.
yes, sir. Would you like chicken or pork? No, got it. Grumpy or happy? $9.50.
Polar opposites, no in between them.
That was interesting how Grace was just looking down at Molly's shoes, which is kind of funny. But look at Molly right there. I mean, it doesn't even... It's so weird how sometimes it doesn't even look like the same person. But you're going to see, like, I just stopped at where the girls, like Latino-looking girls over here, they were just holding onto phones, and they're starting to pull their phones out. And this is where the other group, on the other side, behind where they're ordering at the counter, they start getting animated and calling Xana and Xana.
Why is Amazon paying me $63,000 a month? Well, I didn't make this kind of money.
So that's about the time that Molly goes over and shows Joe the phone, and he pulls out his phone, and it's alleged that that's when the fight with Xana and Ethan was. So I'm not really... This is all speculation. I mean, we don't really know anything. So it's just what we hear amongst all this kind of stuff that's going on and putting the times together as to what really did happen.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
I got 1 chicken taco right here for you.
And then you'll order 94.
No, that's too damn bad.
Thank you. Love it. All right, that's mine again.
Thank you, Joe. Yeah, I know. I got 1 cheese sauce left in the bowl. What's that partial with that? What's the partial in there? Okay. Okay, thank you. Did you put the last bag in?
No, there's no noodles over here.
Okay.
I said it last week, and I'll say it again today. I know that Joe Vito is a social media guy or some kind of creative folk there. I would like to have you on the show, and I'd like to ask you a couple questions, or just jump in the chat if you're watching and tell me what you guys were watching and what potato was the password for, and why you guys picked up your phones at the same time. Because you've never addressed that. You've addressed plenty of other topics, haven't you? You mansplained yourself out of all those. What's up with this?
So take into consideration how fast these ones that were waiting for food here, the Molly and her gang, look how fast they're collecting the napkins and how fast they're trying to get out of there at this time. Because they're on a mission, right? They all have something to do in here. They all have their times allotted to them and what they're to do with this, whatever this was orchestrated.
That's a good point, Jeff. What about the 4 hours before police got there that all the students were on their phones and not one of them contacted anybody from LE? Can you believe that too?
And so they're busting the move right now. I mean, look how fast they're grabbing the napkins and stuff and just all, smack dab together just trying to get all these things. So it's kind of interesting. I've never noticed that part before either, like this is.
Having dental issues can be embarrassing and upsetting.
I rarely go back and watch my videos. I will typically sometimes watch them if someone makes a comment and they point something out like this, but I don't typically go back and watch my stuff. And recently I have started doing that because I'm finding out that that I kind of nailed it on a lot of this stuff, and I didn't even know I did. That's because stuff wasn't relevant then as it is now. We know more now. It is so important to go back and look at these videos because these are the story. Because this stuff's scrubbed now, you guys. We don't get the same thing anymore. And so this is so important that people comment, they share, they talk about it. They point it out like Dude Man did here in the comment. And sometimes I don't see all the comments, but sometimes I get to them, So just don't give up on me because this is a lot of work, and I don't mind it at all. I like doing it. I want them to get justice seriously. So this is where it starts, again and again, over and over again until we get it right, and we're getting close. And it's just a beautiful thing when a new sub comes in and points out something that none of us have ever seen or heard before. And it's so important. And look, in my head when I'm listening to this, and I was thinking I'm going to stop this and say how they look how fast they moved. Well, I didn't have to because I had already said it on the video. And I was like, whoa, I can't believe I even said that because I don't remember these things, right? When I'm making these videos, I literally am just busting them out as I'm talking to you the first time. Like when I'm reading something, it's usually the first time, like you're right with me doing it. And so sometimes it's just so organic that I just don't recall, what I said or what I didn't say. So I'm going to play this out. Let me see what's left. Not very much. I'm going to play this out, and then hopefully you guys will go watch it and watch the whole thing and see if you can see anything else in here because there's got to be more.
All right, so I know a lot of you guys have watched this Grub Truck thing, especially Jen, 100 quadrillion times, and I haven't really. Jeff, I guess you did a really good job on it because at that one point, what really drew me to this video was when they zoomed in on Joe's phone.
When we leave and there's something,
you can almost see.
Yes, sir. Would you like chicken?
You can almost see what they're looking at. So I wanted to take one quick back look before it's right before she starts talking. Hello, Salty Sleuth. How you doing? I saw. Doug's here. We got Swifferfly and Miss Potts is in the house. She got the night off. And Jen will be here later, and we got Rockford Files coming up. So let's not dwell on the fact that college kids use their phones. Let's look at drawing on the drop. They're drawing on the drop. Every single one of these people in this crowd pulled out their phones at the same time. That's the point, Jeff. Now let's not get into fallacies again. I don't want to have to read those off to you again. That's an argument that is not this argument. Whatever that's called. Miss Potts knows. And so they all are triggered, and then commotion ensues where they're all excited about something and people are literally screaming out Xana's name. Okay, and to me, all right, let's look at this. There we go. Okay, full screen this bitch. Look at this. All right, that looks to me, and here, I'll move my big fat head. Okay. That looks to me like a login page or a placeholder page or something with some type of possibly streaming service. Does anybody recognize the green? That's a very unique turquoise-ish sea foam green, something like that. And then within a second, he's logged in and he's getting a stream right there. That's a stream. That's a full screen stream right there. Joe, what's the stream, bro? Call in and tell us so we can stop wondering. We have to look at everything 50,000 times. Because in all your mansplaining, you were pretty vague right here. But you don't know anybody, you don't know anything, right? What are they streaming, dude? You got some brown stuff down. Is this the inside of a house? Is that the baseboard? I can't see my. Okay, and then look. So that is some type of selection screen, right? Because that's not the video anymore. So maybe there's different angles. Maybe you can place bets. Bam, back to the screen. Right there, you can see it right at the last second. Bam, right back to the video feed, right? He selects his thing, boom, right there. You can see it turn back to the video right there. Take that as you may. All right, let's talk about this stuff, guys. What's going on here? Yeah, maybe a pig's gonna fly out of my fucking ass too.
Of snow and ice accumulation, in addition to the return of severe weather, which includes things like tornadoes. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be in.
So you got tornadoes and snow on the way if you're in the Mideast and the Midwest there. Looking good. Looking really. We're supposed to get some cold weather. I think it's going to get down in the 50s next week. Where was I? Where did I leave off? Okay, this is a video I wanted to play here real quick that popped up real fast there on the news break angle.
Lincoln Koberger to the scene of the 2022.
Is this the one with the low audio? This is the one with the low audio. Hold on. Hang on. I'll handle this. I got this. You worry your pretty little faces. Okay. Let's see here. It's nice to be back. I've been working my tail off all week, and it finally paid off. They sent me a check, and they direct deposited me a check. I didn't know what it was like to be able to pay my bills. All the bills came at once, though. So it came in, and then went right out. But thanks, everybody, for your support. Miss Girl, very nice to see you. Meanie Weenie. Let's see, we got Amy Conway, and also Joey Aguilera. Christina Aguilera's first cousin. There's all kinds of redacted stuff. Was Heather redacted? Did Heather get redacted? Where's Heather? She's probably waiting for Tommy Jude's process.
As soon as next week may have been the case against accused University of Idaho student killer Brian Koberger. His defense team wants the judge to toss out DNA linking Koberger to the scene of the 2022 quadruple murder. They claim he has a constitutional right to keep his genetic genealogy private from police. A small amount of DNA was found on a military-style knife sheath that the killer left behind with the bodies of the students at their off-campus house. If the DNA is thrown out, everything police derived from it would also be inadmissible, like the cell phone pings.
Can I ask you a quick question on this? Just something I noticed. Heather, this far out, and in every news report in any fraternity incident nowadays, any fraternity incident, why do they have to say off-campus house? What difference does it make to the news? That house couldn't be more on campus. That house might as well be in the middle of Kibby Dome. It's like 1-2 blocks over on Fraternity Row. But they always in the news whenever there's a tragedy like this. All of a sudden it's an off-campus house. And it was after hours. Here we are 2.5 years later. And that's still so important to add to the news story that it was an off-campus house.
That placed Kohlberger near the victim's address hours after the stabbings. That geolocation...
What the fuck? Hold on. I just gotta play that. I'm gonna go back and play.
is one of the big unknowns in the case. If he did commit the crime, why come back? With the judge's gag order, professional opinions about that have been hard to come by until now.
Like, let's just say one of the reasons why his cell phone was pinging back at the murder site is because it dawned on him that he left the knife sheath after all the chaos, right? And then he's frantically debating with himself, should I go back in and get it? Because that may have been what was going on in his mind if he did not mean to leave the knife sheath. I can imagine him frantically going back and forth in his mind, should I go back in and get this thing because I'm going to be excuse my French.
Since day one, questions continue mounting in this case. Like, what was the motive and what was this plan? Ahead of the murder trial this summer, Fox 13 returned to the scene of the crime with a group of detectives, lawyers, and mental health experts to re-examine the slayings and the suspect. Find out how much the story has changed in part one of our new documentary, Bryan Kohberger, Inside the Idaho Murders. That's coming up Sunday after the Super Bowl.
I don't know if anybody caught that little program there. I certainly heard enough. That's your damn sure.
Repainting your home every few years is time-consuming, costly, and frustrating.
Oh, it's super loud. Sorry, I forgot I was going. I got to take that. Hold on, let me take that stupid. I'm sorry, guys, if I blasted your kid. Kids, go to bed, and that's it. I'm tired of asking. All right, let's take that little. Gain, because that was for that other article there. And thanks for being here, everybody. I'm Kane B. I'm your host of this show. This is The Purge. Don't be afraid of the name. Come on in the chat. Hit that subscribe button. Let us know you're there. And Meanie doesn't bite. I gifted 5 memberships, but it didn't take. I'm trying to match. It went into spin mode. Let's see if I can't. Now the surprise is gone, though. Ah, man. Let me see. Oh, I hit terms apply. There you go. All right, there it is. All right, let's hold on. Let me take the serious. I feel like I'm drunk. Okay, let's see here. Get rid of that thing in it. Sorry about that. Kids go to bed. Okay. That makes everything okay when you say kids go to bed. And let's turn this volume back up. I just want to watch again. I'm sorry it was so loud. I apologize.
Rhino Shield ceramic coating protects your home for up to 25 years, saving you.
Police have arrested a second teen in connection to a series of purse snatchings, including a case in Bellevue that hurt. Detectives arrested the 16-year-old Friday morning.
You ever just have one of those days when nothing's working? It's just one of those days. All right, let's go. Blah, 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 blah.
The teen and his accomplice,
Okay,
18-year-old
they just decided to do what they wanted to do, and let's see if I can make something work for myself today. Yeah, Black Hawk. Another ad. All right, cool, awesome. Enjoy the ads. It's still less than you would get on network TV. Oh, you try to battle with me, girl? You try to... what's this? Come on. Skip commercial. Skip commercial. Oh, gosh. Oh, whatever here. This is... Trying to impress Blackhawk, and this is what happens.
As next week may have been the case against accused University of Idaho student killer Brian Kohberger. His defense team wants the judge to toss out DNA linking Kohberger to the scene of the 2022 quadruple murder. They claim he has a constitutional right to keep his genetic genealogy private from police. A
How
small
dare he?
amount of DNA was found on a military-style knife sheath that the killer left behind with the bodies of the students at their off-campus house. If the DNA is thrown out, everything police derived from it would also be inadmissible.
So they're bringing it at the gets off on a technicality angle. Thank you, Victorine, and I'm sorry, somebody else super chatted me a minute ago, I think. Oh, Victorine bought memberships. Thank you so much. Oh, she bought a membership. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I did. Thank me. Thank Meg P. Victorine. Love you guys. Okay, let's go.
Like the cell phone pings that placed Kohberger.
Where do the cell phone pings place him?
Near the victim's address out.
All right, so we have to have it off campus. We have to have him clad in blackface apparel with deadpan face. I'm sorry, and they can't have it any other way.
Hours after the stabbings, that geolocation is one of the big unknowns in the case. If he did commit the crime, why come back?
And you know, the thing about the news is they're supposed to be an information source, and you can clearly, I mean, we are but the weak-minded here at YouTube, right? We are but the feeble, and they are the elite with the access to information that they have. They can look up your driver's plate, your license plate, and find out who you are if you cut them off in traffic. They have that power. And they can go right to the AP and get stuff that we can't get. Yet, it's still an off-campus house clad in a deadpan apparel. And the cell phone data places him near the house on and after the crime.
With the judge's gag order, professional opinions about that have been hard to come.
Oh, look at it. Hey, baby. Hey, Shushly Jennings, baby. Hey. Shush. Everybody shush. Let's have a moment for Kevin Grass. Courtesy of Ashley Jennings.
Until now.
Like, let's just say one of the reasons why his cell phone was pinging back at the murder site is because it dawned on him that he left the knife sheath after all the chaos, right?
Let's just assume that, and let's build the fairy tale from there. Because we did all the investigation backwards, why not do the story backwards?
And then he's frantically debating with himself, should I go back?
I love how he's frantically debating himself. Oh my god, dude. This is the only thing they have. The stocking's gone. And they don't even have this. That's my point, is how do they report this shit? You know when I get mad, shit's gonna get fired. Let's go.
In and get it, because that may have been what was going on in his mind if he did not mean to leave the knife sheath. I could imagine him frantically going back and forth in his mind. Should I go back in and get this thing?
She can imagine, all right. She's got a great imagination. I think that's how they caught Green River, isn't that, Blackhawk? Where they only had like a partial plate, and then they work from there.
Because I'm gonna be, excuse my French.
That makes it legit. Fox Local is about as sorry as stations can get, because they try to out-suck the other local stations. So they literally pull. They're an inch below suck, but all the other ones totally suck. Everything else sucks. But they're like an inch above. But they just continue to throw this. Listen.
Day one, questions continue mounting in this case. Like, what was the motive and what was this plan?
Thank you. What was the motive? Let's invent a motive. Yay! What was the motive? Yet they can't pursue that line of questioning within themselves. We have to do it for them. And then when we come up with something, we are, like Miss Potts was saying before, this is the conspiracy channel right here. Why do you think I'm blipping in and out? I'm not even here. I don't even exist. I'm a Kane ghost. This is M. Kane Ultra, bitches. You know that. And I'm your host, and if you're out there, hit subscribe. I might not be here tomorrow. Tony will be here. JLR will be here. Just little things I noticed.
Head of the murder trial this summer, Fox 13 returned to the scene of the crime with a group of detectives.
So that'll be interesting to take a look at. I'm not going to play the whole thing and get copyright struck, I guess, right now. I'll work it in, though. We'll figure it out. All right. We did that one. I got a lot of stuff. Hey, there's my job thing. Get paid. All right. So this is just real quick. One of my indulge me's. I appreciate it. And I'm not logging into that stupid shit. Anyway, I guess if you watch it once, you can't watch it again. But they have an indoor wave pool that froze over, and it was really cool. Thanks, sucky news station Instagram. Okay, anyway, it was a video. It was good, I promise. All right, Mama D.
Big open gouges, not like a stab. And then she was shut down. Now, to me, it was presumptuous to even think that the perpetrator had to have a car, had to have used a car. Couldn't be anybody right here in the vicinity of the university. Oh, no, 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 no. Was the car a distancing, get the perpetrators, people thinking the perpetrator has to have a car because they live way far away? They're nobody of our own that live right here by 11. If you saw the corner the first time, she said, big open gouges, not like a stab. And then she was shut down. Now, to me, it was presumptuous to even think that the perpetrator had to have a car, had to have used a car. Couldn't be anybody right here in the vicinity of the university. Oh, no, 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 no. Was the car a distancing, get the perpetrators, people thinking the perpetrator has to have a car because they live way far away? They're nobody of our own that live right here by 11. If you saw the corner the first time, she said, big open gouges, not like a stab. And then she was shut down. Now,
yeah, it was big open wounds or big gaping wounds or something like that, Heather. Well, anyway, Miss Potts and I and Jen and Heather can talk till we're blue in the face, and then finally one day, it seems like the rest of the community kind of jumps on and starts to see, and I've been seeing so many of our I guess you call them theories or whatever. Gretchen, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and I really appreciate that. And it's starting to come to the surface as the obvious, because when you state the obvious, then you see the obvious, which was something I very much liked about Bubbly Water's video there. Thank you for that, Bubbly. And that was a really cool observation looking back. And, you know, sometimes people say, oh, you can't sit here and go over the same stuff. People get bored with it. But we have attacked this case, and we have a clear picture. And I feel like we could explain it to a 7-year-old. And Rochford, if you want to call up now, I've gotten my beginning out, and I'd love to hear some Rochford files. We're waiting to hear from him. Blackhawk Magnum, 57. Maybe the motive was that a close neighbor got pissed when Ethan was messing around and almost hit his cat with his Jeep one night. Well, the cat was outside. Okay, I dig that. Is there more to that story? I'm not familiar with that. I can imagine that you're talking about Eden Harsh. And I tell you, when you watch, if you haven't spent any time there with Doc, make sure that you do. And if somebody, I'm trying to put a link, and it'd take me forever. Hello, Colleen. Better, nice to see you. Wait, wasn't it Colleen D? Now it's Colleen O. Wait, were you always Colleen O? I just had a Mandela moment. Well, nice to have you here. Regards. And if somebody could put a link to Black Hawk Thunderclap, I'd appreciate it. When you're watching his videos, you will be like, damn, because so many things, and he has taken it as far, and so that neighbor, whatever, I love it. And he does, obviously, the best work on YouTube. We got Douglas Outlaw in here. All the best are in here. David Bird, Meanie Weenie, Heather Fitzgerald. Need I say more? That tells you something about how dumb I am, because all the smartest people love to come in here and prove me wrong and straighten me out, right? They like to watch me suffer. Okay, so let's see. We'll get Rockford, or I'll call Rockford here in a minute. We'll see.
Hey, I'll have a bowl of chicken soup.
If you saw the corner.
Okay. I don't know if anybody. I think I sent it to Twiz. Maybe I didn't post the thing about the. Yeah, I didn't post it. Okie Granny's here too. Wow. I hope everybody's feeling better. I know a lot of people had the flu and stuff. And I'm glad you're back. It's great to see you all again. I missed you. I'm looking for Sierra Nevada. I don't see her. Christy Nevada. She's busy with her own channel. I wanted to show you guys some stuff from her. We'll get to that.
If you saw...
Before I get another copyright strike from the Stooges here. Let's see here. Okay, so this was one of the headline stories that I had for you guys today. And Rockford. Before he calls in here. British scientists make huge science breakthrough. Achieving teleportation using supercomputer. Okay, so that title is a little misleading. As in, it's not that this British scientist has come across the secret to teleport humans. It is, though, very interesting, as in a team of British scientists have made an earth-shattering science breakthrough and achieved teleportation using a quantum supercomputer. That's the next generation of computers. And so, listen to this. Thrilled researchers at the University of Oxford believe the impressive milestone will bring quantum computing closer to large-scale practical use. That's because they used a photonic network interface to successfully link two separate quantum processors to form a single, fully connected quantum computer. So in other words, without any wires, without Wi-Fi, without all that, it's the internet without the internet. This, according to the universities, will help to tackle computational challenges previously out of reach. If powerful quantum technology is later rolled out successfully, the technology should be able to solve problems way beyond the capabilities of traditional computers. So we'll read on here. And the breakthrough essentially addresses the technology scalability program. A quantum computer powerful enough to be industry disrupting would have to be capable of processing millions of qubits, the basic unit of information. I didn't know that qubit was... That's weird, because qubit is the measurement they used to build the ark, that Noah was told by God to build the ark in the Bible. That's odd. Okay, the basic unit of information. I didn't know that. However, packing all these processors in a single device will require a machine of immense size. In this new approach, small quantum devices are linked together, enabling computations to be distributed across the network. In theory, there is no limit to which. It just reminded me of sort of what you have with your gold mining stuff, your Bitcoin mine stuff, where you have many computers connected and mining and using each other. You know how they do with the hacks that they do, where they take over your computer and use it. So, although quantum teleportation of states has been achieved previously, this study is the first demonstration of quantum teleportation of logical gates. So it's all computer-based. They're not sending people to Mars yet. So, this is the article. We'll take a quick listen to this here. It's not really that you're going to understand it, but Rochford, has he come in that chat yet? No. Okay. Here we go.
I can finish it in 4 to 6 weeks.
Are quantum computers? How do they work? And what do they mean for the future? In this video, we'll take a look.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Computers are getting a massive upgrade thanks to quantum physics. This upgrade is called quantum computing. So what are quantum computers? How do they work? And what do they mean for the future? In this video, we'll take a look.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Quantum mechanics is a field of physics that studies the behavior of the most basic and smallest parts of our universe at the subatomic level. Reality at this level is very different to the reality we experience every day, but it is reality nonetheless. In the quantum world, weird things happen.
Alright, I guess we can't avoid it. You guys get the idea on that.
Things that scientists are just
anyway,
now starting to try and understand.
Let's go to, since maybe a couple of you, we'll play that one in a second. Missed spots. And sometimes I need a refresher course. And actually, I kind of wanted to play some of Echo's. No, you were cool. I mean, I was staring at your avatar the whole time. But let's go get him. Where is she here? There's that. Okay. First, let's start off with Peterson. But I want to address Doug. Enan Harsh is a violent, lying, sarcastic, condescending, conceited, you fill in the adjectives, manipulator, who has a history of violent crimes, and he attacked, I believe, somebody during a drug deal, and beat them within an inch of their lives. So he is not the little cutesy wootsy San Francisco fire juggling boy we've all come to know and hate. He has a lot more to him, and Blackhawk is pulling it even more out of the surface. You see his ability with knives. You see he has more means and, in my opinion, more motive than this guy right here. And I can't avoid it. I just want to get right into this talk. There's so many things to talk about. Ms. Potts hit on most of them. Angel D. Let's listen to Ms. Peterson.
We have a sense of togetherness in this community, so therefore, I'm going to read you this letter. I understand there's people in the audience that find this absolutely bizarre. I do not. I do not ever find kindness bizarre. I do not ever find kindness bizarre to a man that I believe is innocent. I will scream his innocence until, well, okay, last week my eyebrows were popping off. What is it this week? Let's go with ears, okay? Until my ears pop off, okay? And I've been going over again the Frank's proffer the Anne's argument, and the more I listened to it, the more I became very angry. Angry at the thought of an innocent man being put behind bars, I mean, so to speak, for 2 years for a crime he didn't commit. I'm also very bothered by the fact that a lot of people within the true crime community that swear they're up about, seeking justice and truth, obviously.
And Doug, I'm not trying to rip into you. I am defensive of Blackhawk because a lot of people erroneously pick on his work, and he's amazing. He is to me what YouTube is. I didn't even. I would say I model myself exactly after him. Do I look like him? I don't have the pen right now. You guys, listen, you guys, welcome in. Kane, welcome to have you, Kane. That's Dinky Amo. Anyway, and in any topic that he does, he's thorough, he's truthful, and he's very candid. So yeah, I didn't mean, Doug, I didn't mean to pick on you on that one. It got the conversation started. Let's roll. And yeah, he wants you to have, exactly, Jeff, he wants you to have that impression of him that he is this stoner he dude, but very much like who said that? I'm sorry, I forgot who said it, but I could see him walking through the house. I could see him walking through the house like hee, that stupid laugh is. Look what we did. Look what we did. We're gonna get away with this. That fucking laugh, man. And you have to consider the fact that he really injected himself into the case voluntarily, and then changed his story. And these things are big time red flags. So when you're looking for a motive, and somebody just hands you one, you're making it too easy. How many times that happened? Look at with the guy and the apartment girl, the long hair guy, and he put her in the dumpster and the whole thing. And a lot of times these things happen, and like I've said in so many times, all the answers to this case are right there in front of us. And it's like me, the way I put together a puzzle. There's the way you're supposed to put it together, and then there's me arranging the shapes in the shape of a horse. Just not even connecting the puzzle pieces, but. That is definitely an extreme example of one, and on my honor, I would love to have an honest conversation, give you every chance you have to explain yourself, Joe Vito. I don't need to talk to Harsh. I already know who you are, and I'm not really on the fence with Vito either. But if you're somebody that lives in Moscow and you hate YouTubers, that's fine too. But we're out here putting in a lot more work than even the mainstream media is. And these people in this chat right now are 100% dedicated to getting to the truth. And we can already see it. Unfortunately, our testimony is not going to count when it comes to this trial.
Don't listen. They don't listen. Because if they truly listened, they put on their active listening ears, they would know. Shit's up, okay? And it isn't good. And we should all be very, 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 very suspect of what's going on. And I will say this, that when you have this many questions around an investigation, that gives you all the answers you need. Okay? So, anyway, just thinking about it makes me mad. I'm using Brian's graduation photo from when he got his master's, because I want people to see him. I want people to see Brian.
She's a sweetheart,
exactly
Angel.
What he is, a human.
I'm
sick and tired of people dehumanizing him. Sick and tired.
I wanted to get to the point where she's. But anyway, she's going to send in the letters of the stuff and the thing. So that'll be good. And they're going to have a baby coming up next week, I heard. I just put them so they form the shape that's on the box. I don't even connect the piece. Get out of here with yourself. All right, if I can find Miss Potts' video, I'll play it. Another point that someone made today, and they said it better than I'm going to, I feel like, right now. But they were like, I just can't picture this guy going from honor student, grad student, PhD student to cold-blooded killer all in the course of 18 minutes and just tearing everything apart. I'm still looking here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to buy time, as you can tell. What is this one? Oh, I wanted to play this for Heather. Heather,
to know
put a link to that video that we were talking about in Miss Potts. I couldn't find it or whatever.
Steve Leto. A viewer sent a note to Steve. Have you seen the recent update on that story about the guy who won't talk? And he's in jail. He's been jailed for his refusal to cooperate with the court and other people. And therefore, he's just sitting in jail. And he's been there for some time, and it's been an update. So the person who sent this to me goes by the first initial of R. So thank you very much. From the Associated Press, an ex-deep sea treasure hunter, jailed for almost 10 years, does get a legal victory, but still won't be freed. So it's kind of complicated, but you may recall the former deep sea treasure hunter who has served nearly a decade in jail for refusing to disclose the whereabouts of missing gold coins has had that term ended by a federal judge out of Ohio, but he will remain behind bars. U.S. District Judge agreed to end Tommy Thompson's sentence on the civil contempt charge, saying he no longer is convinced that further incarceration is likely to coerce compliance. The guy's been sitting in jail, and he claims to not know or not remember what he's being asked. But he also, this is the judge, ordered that the scientist immediately start serving a 2-year sentence he received for a related criminal contempt charge, a term that was delayed when the civil contempt term was imposed. So he's been held on a contempt charge since December 15th, 2015. So this December will be 10 years. He's also incurred a daily fine of $1,000 per day. The judge assessed Thompson's total civil contempt fine for 3.3.
So I just wanted to teach Heather a lesson about not answering questions. But I'm freezing up. Am I frozen? Yeah. Okay, so that I found Miss Potts here. Let's go. I want to play this.
Oh, well, hello, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. Hope everybody's having an awesome day. Happy Monday. Good afternoon. Sarah, hello. Saw you here. Hope you're still listening. I'm going to let notifications click in. When you jump here, leave me a little hello in the comment section, please, so I know you can hear me. Let me know if audio is good. Sharon, hi, how you doing? Thanks for being here. I know it's early in the day. That's okay. We might be here for a little while. Justice, hi, how you doing? Beckles, hi, how are you? Thanks for being here. Waiting to see if it's Kane, Twiz. I need some of my mods here, and then we'll kick this off. Hey, Caroline, how are you? Thank you for being here. Angel, hello. How are you? Christy, darling, thank you so much for being here. Hope everybody's having an awesome, awesome day. Happy Monday. We have a lot to get into. Eddie, yay. Love it when Eddie's here. Eddie, did I mod you? I don't know if I can do it from stream yet. At the amount of misinformation that I have seen coming from creators regarding the argument from the defense for Franks. And I was blown away when I saw that creators are claiming that the argument for Franks has to do with overly broad warrants. And I'm like, are we reading the same thing? Because I don't think we are, right? The argument to suppress the warrants has to do with them being overly broad. But the argument for the Franks hearing has nothing to do with overly broad warrants. The argument for Franks is that the affidavit is largely false and fabricated, and the officer who swore to it is the one who fabricated it. The whole point of the Franks is to challenge the validity of the affidavit and the officer who swore to it. So, hopefully that clears everything up. If I'm wrong, please, by all means, hop on into the comments and telling.
That's why I like it when Peterson and Potts and Peterson, Annie and Annie, double Annie, Annie squared, whatever you want to call it, get together, and because they both have very pleasing voices. and they balance each other out, with the snark. They have that on both. One's kind of sweet, and one's kind of got that sourpuss kind of attack to it, and it balances. I love when they co-stream. I'd love to see them do a nationwide big time hotshot podcast. Dynamite made it in. All right, just as we're getting started, let's get this going.
Tell me exactly how I'm wrong in that assessment. It's just my uneducated layman's assessment of the difference of the arguments. Right?
We'll do Rockford after this.
Meg P, how you doing, darling? Thank you for being here. Karma Police, hi. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Miss Potts is very pretty. She appeared on camera the other day.
That's one of the big pieces of misinformation that I see going around.
Irene,
these last few days, is that it only has to do with it's just the defense. They only want the Franks because of overly broad warrants. Like, I don't think that's actually what the argument is, but okay. What's the difference between motions in limine and Franks? Well, motions in limine, from my understanding, are broad. It could be for a multitude of things, but an example that I was given was, say the defense team, for example, wanted to present evidence that might be prejudicial towards a victim. The state could file a motion in limine to ask that evidence not be presented. And that was an example that I was given from an attorney. So can we follow a Twiz, darling? How are you? No, we can't follow a schedule, darling. Nope. I know. I was going to do 4:15. I came in a little early. It's fine. You've missed nothing other than me breaking down the difference. Meanie, how you doing? Some people, Twiz, seem to be confused lately on the argument for Franks, and they think that the defense's argument for a Franks hearing has to do with overly broad warrants. And I was just explaining that that is not at all what a Franks motion is for, or what they're claiming in their Franks motion. What they're doing is they're challenging the validity of the affidavit and the officer who swore to it. That's what the Franks is for. The argument to suppress all of the motions is because they're overly broad. And people didn't understand for some reason. I don't know why, because a lawyer, you don't need to be a lawyer to know this. But anyways, I was just clearing that up. Hello, 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 Swamp Rose. How are you, darling? Kiki, thanks for being here. Hope everybody's having an awesome, awesome day. For fuck's sake, Fitziana, love you. Thank you so much for being here. I was waiting for some mods. I already had to block someone not even 3 minutes into the stream. And as much as I don't like to do it, I really don't. You guys know I don't like blocking people. I'm going to tell my mods right now, currently. I thought I had a great conversation with Frankie over there the other day, a couple days ago. Thought we had a great conversation. Apparently, he didn't like it that I was right on a few things, and that bothered him because immediately the next day he was telling his mods, fuck me and to block her next time she comes in. So if you see Frankie pop into my chat, Fitzy.
If you missed, I need to give you a heads up. Thank you for everybody for being here. I really appreciate it, guys. I hope everybody got a thing, and I definitely over the quota now, I believe, and I can make new. And maybe we'll do that, and I'll show you how to make an emoji in Photoshop. Anyway, one of the takeaways from Miss Potts today was, if you're going to take something out of the PCA and throw it away, you don't throw it away. It's called put it in the fuck it bucket. So I just want to give you a heads up on that.
Twiz, you can go ahead and block him. We'll return the favor since, why not? Just return the favor because I'm feeling snarky AF today. So yeah. Frank, I'm sorry that you're confused. And you believe that the argument for the Franks motion has to do with overly broad warrants. That's not the argument for Franks. Franks is to challenge the validity of the affidavit. And
Today's show brought to you by Orange Drink.
I'm sorry you were wrong about that, friend.
Full chocolate in it.
It's okay. We're all wrong sometimes. Anyways. Well, I tried. Listen, I've tried to be very nice. Okay, that's the thing. I've tried to be cool with everybody. I thought we had a great conversation. Went on for like 2 hours.
That's weird that you guys are talking about moon pies because at work I've been stocking moon pies, and I did not know. I worked at Cracker Barrel for a long time. That was a great job, to be honest with you. But they sell the moon pies at the Cracker Barrel. But where I'm working now, we also have the moon pies. I'm stocking the moon pies, and there are different flavors of moon pies. Did you know? There's vanilla, there's chocolate vanilla. I think they have like a cream flavor or like a strawberry or something like that. So yeah, moon pies, and then you can get those little Swedish fish that are like fresh out of the barrel at Cracker Barrel. Those are pretty good.
Was a good conversation. He told me to fuck off. I told him to fuck off, and it was great, right? No problems, right? I can tell someone to go fuck themselves and like still be okay, right? Next day, say hi, how you doing, whatever. You know, I do it to Jeff all the time. I tell Jeff all the time to go fuck himself, but I haven't blocked him or anything because that's just stupid. I'm not gonna block people if I don't have to.
Yeah, Lemon,
if you're gonna come into my chat talking about, Lana this and truth and transparency that and blah blah blah, and well, then you're gonna get blocked because you know that's my bestie and fuck around and find out. So, anyways, Mercy Cat, where's my Mercy Cat? Where is she? Mercy Cat, I just saw Eddie saying, hi, Mercy Cat, you're having a bad week. Tell me some people I can say mean things to. Oh, Mercy Cat, you're having a bad week. I don't know. If there's anything you can do, please tell me, because you know I will.
That's right, when I came in.
For you, darling.
The Mercy Cat wants to tell some people off.
Everybody put a bunch of kitty emojis in the chat for Mercy Cat. She's having a bad week. Lots of hearts and kitties. I don't even mind a foul mouth, right?
What did she say?
Neg P. Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I mean. I know, honey. That's what it is. I try to be cool with everybody. I really do. I try.
I had to check out right here. So this is orange moon. There's all kinds of moon pie flavors.
Anyway, Kane, yay! So happy you're here. But yeah, Mercy Cat. Anything you need, darling, I'll do it. You just tell me. Hope you know that. So I thought everything was fine, but then I saw the next day he was telling his mods basically fuck me and block her next time she comes in, and I don't even know why. I didn't do anything wrong. Literally, didn't do anything wrong.
Whose chat was that in, Miss Pot?
Conversation, so it's fine.
I missed
Joanne,
that.
how you doing, honey?
So be real. What's up? How you doing? Cold or covered
you were
here?
There, right? You saw that.
Gretchen.
I thought everything was fine.
Okie
I was
Granny,
very
Soul
respectful.
Child.
I was very, you know, I
Anna
didn't
Kamar
get
was
personal
gifted a
or
membership
anything
anyway.
like that. So I don't know what happened, but it's fine. I'm blocked, and if Frank shows up here in my
Phil,
chat,
the Giblitarian Gigs.
mods, you can go ahead and block him, and
I
we'll
never
return
get
the
your
fucking
name right.
favor.
Sorry.
That's just
Dynamite
how I
has
feel
arrived.
about it.
Dynamite going
but
on a
anyways.
ski trip coming up soon.
What I wanted
Something
to
like
talk
that.
about today mostly is going to be a lot of the misinformation that was presented from the state of Idaho to the court. And I believe that that's going to be very important because...
That's a sign. Okay, I got to
Well, when you really get down to it, that is how a case gets tossed, right? When
Oh,
you
Frank.
think about it, of course. I'm going to do a live and all these damn kids are out here in this driveway next door just screaming their fool heads off. Sorry, guys. If you can hear all these kids outside screaming, they're not mine. I promise. It's these neighborhood kids.
Okay,
right?
she was mad because the kids were making a bunch of noise next door, and I saw one of these videos, and you check this out. So when we were kids, apparently there's something a record that adults were able to purchase, and it was called Mosquito Sounds, and it's not a Beach Boys album. It's what is it? Inaudible noise. That, you know how you lose the higher pitches when you get old? If you didn't know that, you do. So kids can hear higher frequencies than adults, especially older people can't hear the high frequency. And so there's this record that apparently some geezers knew how to play back in the day, and they would crank it up on their stereos, and it would give the children's headaches and make them vomit and stuff like that. And it's called Mosquito Sounds. And so I was going to suggest that Miss Potts get a Mosquito Sounds record and crank it all the way up to get rid of the kids. But that's just awful. It's terrible. If they really did that, that's crazy. The poor kids, but I guess they probably learned not to hang out outside that window anymore. So I was going to suggest that. What did somebody ask me a question just now? We're talking about moon pies still? All right, and so here we're going to get to the meat.
I live. They're wild. They're feral. and their parents are standing on the porch smoking weed while they're all running around out there like animals. Can't blame them. They were at school all day, you know.
David Bird.
But this is like the, oh, okay, you can't hear it echoes? Awesome. All right, cool. Every now and then they come up under my window and they're real loud. Yeah, they're not mine, no. Mine's upstairs, quiet. Hanging out in her room, drawing and listening to music. Exactly, Kane, right? Get off my fucking lawn. Nah, they're cool kids. It's fine. Summertime, it's even worse. When I get the windows open, forget it. I won't be able to go live here at all in the summer if I got the windows open. These kids are out here from like 7, 8, you know, like we did back in the day. Out the door at 6 a.m. and you don't come home till the street light comes on. That's how these kids are. Good for them, though, right?
That's
good for them.
Okie Green.
They're not just stuck inside. I don't let.
Oh, Star Crunch. Wait a second. Okay, you know what I got the other day? I got those little Debbie chocolate rolls with the white filling. Those are good. You can't go wrong with those.
If I'm with her. She ain't roaming around these streets alone. Without my protection. Amanda, don't worry about it. Doesn't matter who he is. You know, just someone I thought I could have a conversation with. But apparently I can't.
Write a song about it, Doug.
Moonvale, hi, how are you? Good morning.
Moonvale.
Right, so anyways, I want to talk about a lot of this misinformation from the state of Idaho that was presented to the court, right? Now, again, we can only go by what the defense is saying. State files almost everything under seal.
Thank you.
So sadly, we can only go by what the defense is saying.
Keep it
now,
real.
what we've been able to gather from these defense filings, you know, I know Lana's doing her whole little red flag project, right? I'm not going to ride those coattails, but we'll say these are the things that make me side eye the state of Idaho, right? When it comes to some of the things they've disclosed to the court. Diddy Fitzy. Oh, that's funny. No, you know, good for him, I guess, right? Well, yeah, I got blocked too. I don't even know why I got blocked, but it's fine. I don't know. It's just that I saw that he was very, very intently upset about people who...
All right, so while Miss Potts and Heather are having her little side conversation, let's look at something else real quick, if you'll indulge me. And I think this is the other Kane, the bad Kane, the evil Kane, whatever you want to call him. Gak. And Heather, I'll just go to Heather's page for it. Where are you driving to, I wonder, Heather? Are you going somewhere any fun? Going out to dinner? Jen will be here. I don't pay her to cook dinner, but she's cooking dinner nonetheless. And so she'll be here in a little bit. We'll try to get a hold of Rockford in the meantime. This thing about this, I've been meaning to click on it, and maybe some of you have too. And we'll take a little quick reprieve for Miss Potsy so she can watch the show, because her own voice drives her out of her mind. Okay, so let's see here. The first one is this, and I Murphy knows all I think is Gak. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is.
Peeps,
okay.
What is up? What's up? Murphy here. Ruff, 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 ruff. Murphy's a good doggy. I'm a good doggy. Murphy brings the truth. Murphy knows all. And Murphy is going to dive into 1125 Ridge Road. Heretofore, and thank you, by the way, to Ashley Jennings for dropping this. We have imperfect information, if any information in this case. So this past hearing, my favorite hearing of them all, lots of information was dropped. It's still imperfect information, and we have to make sense of it and fill in the blanks to the best of our ability. But at least
I figured that would be the case. Was I'm not. I told you it was going to be re-redacted today, and clearly that's what they did.
it's more information. That's a good thing. It is more information than we have. That's a good thing. So let's analyze this and try to understand what is going on here. Anne did not give us the address of the Ridge Road camera. She just said Ridge Road. Ashley Jennings, actually, thank you, Ashley. You didn't mean it in a magnanimous way, but nonetheless,
Jeff H.
It was serendipitous on your part, and it is valuable. 1125 Ridge Road. That's the address. Heretofore, I thought it was another address. We'll discuss what address I thought it was. Although,
yeah, I thought he's posted pictures of himself before, and he was quite a bit younger, so I don't know if this is an aged portrait. Maybe it's the Dorian Gray of the Kanes. I don't. But yeah, this is apparently Get a Clue's channel, and Heather brought it up, and I had seen it in a couple different places from Ashley, whatever. Let's listen.
That camera might come in handy in a further, deeper analysis of this if I had all the information available. But I don't have all the information available. I wish I did. I wish I had all this camera coverage available. But I don't have it, so we have to try to fill in the blanks here best we can using logic, right? Logic based on the information we have. So it doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to be correct, but it's directionally correct. It's going to be close to correct. It's the best we can do with the information we have, and we do have more information than we have had. So let's see if we can make sense of this. Let me get rid of this image. All right, let's listen to what Anne has to say about 1125 Ridge Road. She doesn't say 1125, but she says Ridge Road. She discusses it starting at 109:14 right here. So let's tune in. Roll the wonderful
Okay, this
footage.
is the automatic course creator. And if you are looking for the fastest and most affordable way to launch your first...
Talking about credibility and sets this whole thing into motion. Your Honor, the next part of the affidavit talks about what they have determined to be suspect vehicle number 1. And it trails a path of pieced together cameras. But what they don't tell the magistrate is that the camera near the residence, the 1112 King Road camera near 1122 King Road, you can't tell what kind of car it is. They don't tell.
And I'm going to say not true. I'm going to say not true. By the 1330 Linda Lane camera, I've proven, and I'm not going to tell you why, but she knows this. I have proven that it is a white Hyundai Elantra between the years 2011 to 2020. I have also shown that because of the vantage we have from the snapshot, here's that vantage once again. Let me open a new tab because my new tabs always have it. Oh, crap. My bad. This vantage right here, I told you before, all I need from this vantage to make an identification is the rear bumper reflectors. And you can see rear bumper reflectors right here. Even if these lights were on, these back lights were on this car, they would create some haloing, but they would not obscure the lower back bumper reflectors. The same would be true for the white Hyundai Elantra. And those back bumper reflectors would tell all. If they were more towards the inside, like I said, bingo, automatically, 2011 to 2013, we're done. Our job is done. Brian Kohberger is excluded. They can't tie him to the neighborhood at that point. Same here, look at rear lower bumper reflectors. See that? If the back lights were on here, there would be some haloing, but it would not obscure the back lower bumper reflectors. Just as I've shown in the 1320 Linda Lane camera video. You can still see the lower back bumper reflectors of that BMW. Regardless of the haloing from the back lights, the lower back bumper reflectors still show themselves. And I helped use them to make a determination on what vehicle that was. So the same is going to apply here. So you can't tell me, Ann, and this is where I'm going to tell you where both the prosecution and the defense are wrong here. Now, I don't know what's going on with the prosecution. I feel they are playing games. But there's more than one way to identify this vehicle. I believe Tony Immel, now we understand from Ann it's pronounced Immel. I guess she's asked him, or she knows that it's Immel, not Imel. So Tony Immel is identifying it by the 1125 Ridge Road, which we will see in a second where that is. But there's no way you can, and I think Tony Immel's probably using a software program that he's using to identify these cars. So he's reliant heavily upon the technology. But you can identify this by hand, so to speak, too, without the technology, which I've done. By combining both of these cameras, I can nail this down. So there's more than one way to identify this vehicle. And I don't believe his way is a good way at this point. And I believe that we'll see in a second by them relying on the 1125 Ridge Road footage is duplicitous, and we'll see why in a second. So I don't know if they're hiding this from her, or they've only given her snapshots and not the video from this. I don't know what's going on with Ann and why she seems to me not to want to identify this vehicle. She has two courses of action she can take here. She can impeach their identification of it per the 1125 King Road footage, or she can do her own identification the way I'm doing it here and determine what year range the vehicle is. What's more powerful? If she determines per her own identification through her experts that it is a 2011 to 2013, that's much more powerful than her impeaching the state's identification of it. Much more powerful. Which would you want to take if you're the defense attorney? Well, obviously, you would want to take the one where you identify yourself as a 2011 to 2013, because then you can say it's not Brian Kohberger's car. It doesn't matter what they say about some car on Ridge Road. This car right here that they're saying is his car, because this is the car in the neighborhood, is not his car. That's much more powerful to a jury, obviously. So I don't know what's going on here. Ann, why don't you want to identify this? Yes, I think it's important to impeach the 1125 Ridge Road nonsense. Absolutely, it's important to do that too. And I think you should even do that if you identify this in the neighborhood, like I think you can, like I've told you I can. And I will, if you give me the opportunity.
All right, okay, whatever, Kane. All right, so anyway, let's get back to what Heather had to say about this and why it's important. Okay. We'll get back to Miss Potts. Hang on, Miss Potts. We'll get back to you. Get that mosquito record going. All right, let's see here. Heather had a couple I wanted to play real quick. I'm not staying on too late, guys.
Are you looking for a new fence or
I gotta
gate
work
for your
tomorrow,
home or property?
4 a.m., so we're going to shut it down early here. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. Another hour. We're waiting for Jen to make my dinner. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Okay, so this was her post, and if I could click on it, I would. Oops. Okay. It's interesting that 1125 Ridge is at a corner. Seems to be just another way to escape providing the public with truths. Hushley Jennings sucks at math, but let's not worry about the timestamps on the footage, Judge. Let's move beyond that. Let's move past the timestamps. Let's move past the stuff that really matters in the footage. I mean, we could post stuff from a week later. Would that help? I'm KB, your host today. I'll be taking care of y'all. Today's show brought to you by Orange Drink and the letter P. And so let's see what else Heather had for us here. We watched this one, I believe, the particle accelerator. Yeah, they have a particle accelerator they're working with between Boise State, Idaho State, and okay. I don't know why her post won't open. Let's see if we can get it. Okay, thank you. All right. Sometimes you need a cipher with Heather. I tell you. Okay, so here it was. Let me go back and read. I bet Kelsey and Bree are the two other phones in and around the crime scene between 12:39 and 5:49 p.m. as determined by the geofencing data. They were together all day, cosplaying as Abby and Libby, while they staged the fake timeline with Libby's phone. Oh, this is... Okay, never mind. Alright, that's Delphi. I was like, what the blank am I reading? Is this... That's not even... How do I know how that get in there? Heather, you need a cipher. Alright, so let's see. She had a new video, I think. Watch that. And... we watched that one. Okay, good. Did I watch this one? Yeah, we watched that. Okay, and then let's see what Jen has for us today. And we'll go back to Miss Potts in the actual meat of the conversation there. Apologize for the wait. There we go. Let's see what Jen's been up to. And on my desk, Jen, nothing new. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure I was up to date on Jen. And Jen, you can call in anytime you like. Has she joined the chat yet? Dude, I'm on skip. I've been playing the mosquito sounds too much. Okay, so, alright, let's go back.
Who are complaining that rights were violated, right? Because as far as he's concerned, your rights don't matter, which I get coming from a person who lives somewhere where they don't have rights. They don't have a constitution. They don't have a document in place that prevents a tyrannical government from taking things away from them that the government shouldn't be able to take away in the first place. You get what I'm saying? So I guess where I'm coming from is that I get it when people from other countries are confused as to, oh, well, I don't get it. What do you care? So what if they got the right guy? They're not grasping that, the reason we have the Constitution that we have and the reason that we have the amendments that we have and the case precedent that we have is specifically to prevent those who take an oath to uphold and defend our constitutional rights from violating them. That is specifically why our document exists. The most beautiful document ever written, in my opinion, the Constitution of the United States of America. It is the exact thing. The Constitution is the thing that the FBI and law enforcement claim they are going to uphold and defend.
Shout out to habeas corpus.
Costs at all times. Mikey, yay, good to see you. Thanks for being here. So, when it blows my mind when I hear people saying, well, so what? Nobody cares about your rights. Why are you bitching if your rights were violated? What? Excuse me. You don't understand why it's important. So I guess the way I look at it, right, is let's go by this logic, the same logic. What does it matter? Well, we're right, so who cares about rights? What do the rights matter, right? Fuck the rights is basically the argument. Well, if the rights don't matter, then why do we have a constitution? Right? If the FBI and law enforcement don't have to uphold their oath, well, why do we make them take it? Right? If the DOJ puts in place specific policies for the FBI to abide by when it comes to different investigative techniques that they may use when assisting a local or state agency, what is the point of the policy and writing it and putting it in place if the FBI can just say, nah, we're going to ignore that one today? What is the point? You understand? So I think that's why It's very confusing to me when I hear people say things like that, because I'm like, well, going by your logic, right? The rights, they don't matter. Well, then what the fuck is the point of the Constitution? Right? What the fuck is the point of these third-party DNA companies putting in place specific policy?
So one question I haven't been able to answer yet with this whole business is whether or not the, what is it called, mygenealogy.com or whatever it is, harvestmyorgans.com, were they forced by the FBI to reveal what the FBI gave them? Or what? Okay, so from the way I understand it, the FBI submitted the samples as their own. They didn't say this is the Kohberger family, search for the Kohberger family. They gave 2 of their own fresh samples of DNA, submitted that, and got the results from there. And if there is somebody else involved, that's perhaps what is being hidden from us, the party whose rights cannot be... One party, it's so important on one end that we protect the rights of whoever the genealogy came from, or whatever that business is, and we protect the rights of all the witnesses, but when it comes to this, rights are out the window. We don't need rights anymore, you know? We can...
Policy that bars...
Hi, Yvonne. By the way, I meant to say hi, Yvonne.
And the FBI from accessing their databases if the fucking policy is irrelevant. Right? But I noticed that, yes, exactly, Amanda, right? So he's from California. No, it's from the Netherlands, surprisingly. But that was a good one, Amanda. I might mod you just for that alone. Just for that comment alone, I might mod you. That was some good shit. So he's from California. But anyways, you know, it is what it is. Like I said, I understand when people who aren't from here are like, what do you mean the rights? What rights? Rights? What are those? You know, I get it. There are people in other countries who literally are like, what the fuck do you mean rights? We don't even know what that means. And it's because they've been so absolutely fucking, their brain has been hammered into believing you don't have rights. The government tells you when you have rights and when you don't, and the government can chill and pause and freeze those rights whenever they feel like it, right? And it was our amazing founding fathers who rode their asses in rowboats across the Delaware on Christmas to go shoot the motherfuckers who attempted to take away their rights. And I don't understand why they don't understand this, you know? There's a reason our founding fathers literally took all of the tea and chucked it in the fucking river. You know what I mean? Anyone? I feel like I'm going to have to do like a history lesson here. Maybe I have to do an entire lot.
There's another point. I have to watch her thing to remember all the things that I thought of when I was thoughting of it. There's Jen. Hey, Jen. What are you having for dinner, Jen? We all want dying to know. What are you making me? And what was she talking about?
Live that is the reading of the Constitution of the United States of America. And so, absolutely, fucking their brain has been hammered into believing and you don't have rights. The government tells you when you have rights and when you don't, and the government can chill and pause and freeze those rights whenever they feel like it, right? And it was our amazing founding fathers who rode their asses in rowboats across the Delaware on Christmas to go shoot the motherfuckers who attempted to take away their rights. And I don't understand why they don't understand this, you know? There's a reason our founding fathers literally took all of the tea and chucked it in the fucking river. You know what I mean? Anyone?
There's the fairest maiden in the land.
I'm going to have to do a history lesson here. Maybe I have to do an entire live that is the reading of the Constitution of the United States of America.
Yeah, I tried to go cash my check.
First and foremost, before
this happened,
for every live, let's do a reading of the Constitution of the United States of America.
I want to see that.
So that for anybody who's
I will definitely be there, Miss Potts.
What they are, where they come from.
Meatloaf
Fucking hint, it's not
sandwich.
from government, friends. Your rights do not come from the government. They never did, they never should, they never will. Okay? Fucking A.
Gosh, I forgot what I was going to say.
You understand?
Oh, sorry.
Our founding fathers literally rode themselves across the Delaware on Christmas to go kill the people who attempted to impede upon their rights. This isn't hard to figure out. Okay? If you don't understand rights, you don't believe in rights, I mean, hey, that's fine. Okay, great. Maybe you're not from here. And I sympathize with you. I sympathize if you don't understand what it means to have rights that don't come from the government. I sympathize with people who believe they have to lick the boot of the government because they don't have rights. Do you get what I'm saying? So, you know, it's wild. It is what it is. I'm probably going to end up doing a live reading of the Constitution of the United States of America at some point, just so people get it. We may end up having to do that. But anyways, getting back to the state of Idaho here and the misinformation that they presented to the court. Probably one of the biggest, in my opinion, pieces of misinformation that Bill and Hushley here presented to the court was that, yes, God bless America, Taylor, that's right. You know, so a lot of people, I don't want to make it political. I never do, because I hate politics, and I usually can't stand the people involved in politics, right? Because everybody's so like one-sided, they can't. I've always been a registered independent my entire life, and
now, okay, so a lot of you are, you know, on the same page with the current administration or not. And, you know, Orange Man or Agent Orange, whatever you want to do. If you look back on the history of these parties, it is so crazy. But I'm just talking about in the 80s, where you had George Bush and Dan Quayle, and then you had Bill Clinton and Al Gore. And the history of these parties, the deceit and the phoniness and the lies, and I don't know if this is when all of these black, not black ops, but black funding started. But it was certainly exposed by the media then and brought to our attention. But it was another one of those things like, what can we really do about it? And, you know, you have one son finishing another father's war, and, you know, we were deceived, you know, and it was again, once again in our faces. And you'll find that they take away your rights in the name of liberty, hence they call stuff the Patriot Act. Now, something that's going on, and maybe Rochford will touch on it. If you want to call in, Rochford, we'll give Jen a little time to digest her dinner. But Jen, you're on deck, so don't feel like you're on my desk. Don't get too comfortable. Yeah, Rochford, go ahead and call in, buddy. We were calling for you a minute ago. And they'll call it the Patriot Act, and they even went as far as to call the next dissertation of your rights the Patriot Act 2. And they do it like with the TikTok Act. It had nothing to do really with TikTok. You know, Rochford made the point that I'll call him. Maybe he's eating cereal or something right now. And let's see here, Rochford. Unless you want to come up, Jen, it's up to you. Put a 1 in the chat if you want Jen. Put a 2 for Rochford. Too bad we got Rochford. You're gonna like it. All right, here we go. Oh, hey, right, he's calling me. All right, there it is. Hey, caller, how you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I was calling you on the other line. You got to mute your computer.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, thanks. All right. All right, and so let's see here. Take a little break from Miss Paz. We were talking about rights and stuff. I guess you tuned in on that.
Yeah, I just pulled out my Constitution.
You have a pocket Constitution? Welcome to Rockford, everybody! Rockford live. All right, what's up, Rockford? So yeah, you have a pocket Constitution or what?
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common
defense,
promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
That's the preamble right there, you guys. The preamble to the Constitution.
Yeah, then it goes on to Article 1, Section 1, Section 2, and all that.
Mm-hmm. And Amendment 1, Amendment 4, and they like...
But what I wanted to say real quick is, Ms. Potts was talking about the Constitution of the United States gives us our rights. It gives us some amendments, but I think it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the Bill of Rights that gives us our rights under God. Well, doesn't matter what God you think it is, but it's not, our rights are not given to us by the government. They're given to us by God. I think that's an important thing to point out.
That's why
I think it says it in the Bill of Rights, which I don't know if I have that.
That's why I was calling out, that's why I did a shout out to habeas corpus. Because habeas corpus was the first document that gave us any rights. And so the Bill of Rights is a part of the Constitution, though.
Yeah, well, I didn't get to that page, I guess is why I didn't find it yet.
But that's okay. So what's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Just had dinner with Dad. That's why I was late getting on.
Right on. What'd you have?
Same as last night. We had the leftovers from last night, chicken, baked potato, and some rolls.
Oh, that's word up.
Good stuff. Yep.
Yeah. So what do you got? What's good?
Okay, well, I got the Rockford files going on here for Kane B's The Purge, February 10, 2025.
Yes, sir.
So apparently we have an asteroid coming towards us that has a 1% chance of hitting us. It's called a City Killer.
The City Killer, yeah.
It hit in 2032.
2032.
So that was interesting.
Yeah, so I guess we have the possibility of having one of those Bruce Willis situations to go to in our future here. They've already shot a rocket at an asteroid and they were able to affect its trajectory. I'm afraid that they'll shoot something at something and make it worse, which was one of the plot twists of that story with Bruce Willis, right?
Well, I don't remember that movie, but from listening to astrophysicists, Michio Kaku and dudes like that, if you would try to blow up an asteroid, then you're going to have 20 asteroids, smaller.
Yeah, I've actually played I've played the game for the people on the show.
But if they're smaller, they might just be meteorites and burn up in the atmosphere.
Yeah,
the other idea is if you land a small craft on an asteroid, which they've done, and then just shoot a jet, it changes the trajectory of the rock.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that's probably the best solution.
Yeah, you have to say that it's a good thing that we have the technology finally to detect that something's going to be headed our way at least, and it does give people a common cause across the world, something to pull for together. So that's a good thing too. But it's the same thing with science though. Is if you're like this country guy, backwoods hillbilly guy, and you barely graduated 8th grade. And science, you knew 8 things about science, and one of them was that Pluto was a planet. And then they took that away from you, and it's like, shit, I don't believe science anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's two ways of looking at believing, quote unquote, the science. Because A, there's physics. Physics is pretty indisputable. They can tell when the moon's going to come up and when Earth's going to come by. That's all calculated, and you can use a computer to calculate it super fast. However, science that's bought and paid for by the food companies and the pharmaceutical companies, that's that's kind of iffy, especially to even people that graduate. They go and get their, degree in business, or they become a school teacher. They don't learn how the science works. They get a basic understanding. Oh, somebody does a thing, a hypothesis, then they do an experiment, then it's peer reviewed. Okay, whatever. I'm teaching shop class. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that kind of science. Not that anybody can figure out physics unless they take 4 years of it either. No. I'm just saying that the science that goes on in this world that we say, quote unquote, science, a lot of it's bought and paid for. You can look it up. There's a couple of, studies done on it years ago. I forget what they are.
Let me hit the pause button on that with you for a second, because Blackhawk brought up something that, if you remember from last week, I was showing the lasers coming off of the battleships, that they have those big, thick, megawatt lasers now, and he's saying that that'll probably take care of it, because you got to figure with the laser, the accuracy is laser good, right? So that is a good point.
You're talking about using a laser to move the asteroid?
Blow it up, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Okay, well, me either.
All right, what else you got, bro?
Let's see. So I read today that Teslas, which I'm not a big electric vehicle guy, as you know, but apparently they last longer than any other EV. They go 240,000 miles, which I think is pretty good, even with a gas-powered engine. That was an interesting thing that I didn't know. I was like, wow, they go 200. Because I thought, man, you get 50,000 miles, you got to buy a $20,000 battery,
Right. Well, tell them about. Oh, do you want to discuss the idea for a business that you had, or no? That the Chinese did?
Refresh my memory.
Where they swap out the batteries?
Oh, yeah. I said this years ago, because everybody, back when they were trying to freak out overall, we don't have enough charging stations. And then it takes an hour to charge it to go 300 miles. When you can just use gas 10 minutes. But if you just change out the battery, ends up, China figured that out. They just drive in, the battery comes out of the bottom on a conveyor belt, goes over, new one goes in, and off they go.
No charge.
And they have, I don't know how many batteries they had there, but they charge, so when any car pulls in, you don't have to charge your car, you just get a new battery, just like your remote control.
Yeah, because it takes hours to charge those things, even at those super fast stations, right?
Well, I mean, they're getting better at it, and I guess Japan came up with a new battery that... Anyway, yeah, I had that idea years ago, and I guess they must have been listening in on my Chinese-built Mac devices.
Yep. Your Hiaways.
Bastards, they owe me some dough.
It would be great to see it come into fruition, though, around here. If they had a great... whoever does it...
It would make electric cars a lot more viable.
Well, plus you wouldn't really have to worry about your battery life, and you may end up with a car that reaches 1,000,000 miles. You know?
Oh, so here it is. I just thought of it. All these gas stations that have a fucking stupid-ass car wash, they turn that into a battery replacement center.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yeah, you
can
can.
in there, and you pay you get like an app, and you pay a yearly fee to get, you know, a new charged battery, and they just have a bunch of charged batteries there. You drive in, your old one pops out, goes into the charger, new one pops in, off you go.
Yep, that'll be cool to see. So what
Dude,
else?
we need to call it Duracell.
Duracell be the king of that. What else going on, bro?
All right, what do I got? Oh, the Super Bowl last night.
Okay, oh, here we go.
Look, I love rap music, and I like that one song that dude
I
did.
thought I did. Till I saw that shit.
I like the popular song, but I don't know, it wasn't that good. I've seen a couple, remember Lady Gaga went flying off the thing and came down, had a real band playing.
I didn't see the Lady Gaga part. I came in with the guy. I'll tell you what I did like. That was the car that he was rapping in front of. And then,
yeah, there was like a 1980 Buick or some shit.
Yeah, it has the T-tops, and that's the not the Monte Carlo, but the Grand Prix or whatever. And they have the super engines, a real gangster car. I had a Cutlass that I did up like that, but it didn't have the T-tops on it. But I redid the engine with a 350 in it, and that thing it just hummed down the road, man. It was real nice. But yeah, that was a weird ritual kind of thing with the dancers too. Once again.
Yeah, that was. I heard a bunch of blah 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 on that, but I don't. Whatever. I just didn't think that. I don't know. Those weren't. I think at the Super Bowl you want to have some music that's like, everybody knows. Now I think he did a really good job, and I was looking to see if he was lip syncing, and if he was, he's a good lip syncer. But I think he did a really good job. I don't know, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, it was boring too. There was no.
Around.
Well, with rap music, it's lost its.
I do like the choreographed stuff. I mean, that's kind of cool, but I don't know. I would have rather seen explosions and fireworks and.
Or do something that everybody likes. Have Neil Diamond on there or something, or whatever.
Well, I saw this one guy talking today, and he was like, "If you're going to have a black artist, why don't you do some R&B or some smooth jazz or something?"
You know who I liked was the guy that sang "America" or the Star Spangled Banner at the beginning. That guy had a little bit of soul.
He had an upside down cross on his ring.
Oh, yeah, was that what that was? I did notice that. I wasn't sure. I always try to tell myself that I'm seeing stuff.
I'm always trying to do that satanic stuff. Whatever. I don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
But, that sounds kind of comical. Because I'm a death metal guy. They talk about Satan all the time.
So what else?
But I did want to do a shout out to Lady Gaga though, because that song that she sang on the piano, man. And dude had a JCM 800 half stack in the background.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Marshall. Hell yeah.
Dude, her voice is amazing.
Is it really? Okay, I didn't catch it. I've since learned that that she has a couple songs that I think are actually pretty good that I didn't know were her.
Yep.
So credit to her. Okay, she can sing, she has talent, she can act, whatever.
Oh, dude, Lady Gaga can play guitar. She writes all her own music, plays piano, does the vocals. Now, I don't really like pop music usually, but there's a couple. I can tell that she's got real talent, even though she might be in the Illuminati. I don't know. She probably got her talent from Satan. Who knows?
Well, allegedly, she killed the person that was her best friend, that was her namesake, and she stole the person's name and album and took her thunder. Basically, that's because you have to sacrifice something to become into this core group if you want to be super famous. And that's what they allege. I don't know.
She's actually, I forget the name now. You threw me off guard. The lady that died not too long ago, she used to sing like jazzy kind of stuff. I'll go to rehab. I said, no.
Amy Winehouse.
Who's that?
Amy Winehouse.
Yeah. So I saw this guy had some pictures and lined them all up, and it's like, yeah, that's Lady Gaga. Oh, and then there was another one where Lady Gaga has a penis. That went around for a while. There's so much crap out there on all this stuff. I try not to pay attention to it. But anyway, I thought her performance was really good.
Well, at least there's that. But when I tuned in, I was just like, 5 seconds in, and I'm just like, nope. Went back to watching Pixels was on Laugh TV, so I watched that, Adam Sandler, with the guy.
Also, I gotta say,
that was pretty funny.
I only watch the Super Bowl for the commercials, because I don't really...
Oh, the commercials, the only decent commercial was...
crap.
Well, the Doritos commercial was alright. That Doritos commercial was pretty good with the guy, and the aliens were trying to take his Doritos.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was like, I could film that. All it was a hole in the wall with a light shining through it, and then they had a guy in an alien costume. I was like, there's no creativity this year at all within this Super Bowl. And, these are paying $1 billion a minute to put an ad up there, and they're not giving you anything to remember and talk about on Monday,
I know. I was disappointed, because I don't listen to advertisements, but I do know the art, and I appreciate the art that the talented people put into making advertisements. But I saw a lot of AI that was like not that good. Like, I've seen some pretty good AI, but what I saw, I guess the best one was Martha Stewart with her sneakers, and how they had her doing a little break dance.
Yeah, everybody's making fun of that dance. She did. Yeah, Lady Gaga was in the Super Bowl. All right, what else is going on, bro?
All right, well, just to do one little political thing, which I thought was interesting that came up today. Trump gave Hamas till Saturday to get the hostages out, or all hell is going to break loose.
Really?
Yeah, so that's like, whoa. So, regardless of where you stand on the situation, I just thought, dude, if you kidnap my kids or anybody, I'd be like, you better let them out by Saturday or I'm going to not be happy. So it's good to see a president stand up. And now, all that crap that's going on over there, that has nothing to do with me. But nobody should have hostages. That's just, prisoners of war, that's a little bit different. You put them in Guantanamo, they get 3 vegan meals a day, whatever they want. But when you have hostages, that's a different story. So I thought that was pretty cool that Trump just said, yeah, out by Saturday or all hell's going to break loose.
And that'll be, that could go either way. That'd be interesting,
yeah,
man.
We don't need to get into all that stuff.
They've made some concessions and let a few hostages go for whatever reason. So it was very nice to see those people get out, but I just hope that we can continue and get the rest of them freed without anybody getting damaged. So, yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, nobody should have hostages.
That's.
So anyway, the last thing I got here. So I saw a video. I've seen it a couple times, and I just see clips. And you know how reels are. It doesn't tell you who the fuck the people are. But it's a regular, popular podcast. But the dude he was interviewing said that on Easter of 2026, some star, I think Rigel or something like that, is going to come up over the horizon on Easter 2026 in front of the Sphinx in Egypt. You know how they can calculate the sky and all that, right?
Right.
But anyway, I guess that is the time that quote-unquote humans are supposed to ascend to the next level of consciousness.
Okay.
Like a third eye is going to pop open or something. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it. I mean, I pay attention to it, but I don't believe any of it, or don't believe any of it. It was interesting that now they got a date. Okay.
So many times through history. I think Doug Wilson will probably be leading the charge on that one from the Christ Church over there in Moscow. It's funny. They always, you have the people that were going to catch the comet. What was that? Heaven's Gate cult. And since the 1800s, there's been thousands of cults that say this date and that date, and then we had Y2K when everybody was going to die, whatever. But I'll tell you a little caveat about Rochford. And I guess I've known you since 2012, bro, or a little after. 2014 is probably when we started working together.
Yep.
And one of the things that he came up with one day, he was talking to me, is that, you know how they said the Mayan calendar ends 2012, blah, 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 blah. And he said, what if it did end and we all either died or went on another timeline? Because after that shit happened, everything started getting so crazy weird. And I was like, man, that actually kind of works, dude. You know what I mean? It's like we jumped timelines in 2012. And, you know, it just progressively...
Yeah, we were talking about that little kid that said that when they turned on CERN over there in Switzerland or whatever, it broke a particle and put us on a different timeline.
The God particle thing, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it was they found the God particle. I think it's a neutrino or something.
And they're actually building another collider, and I believe it's in the U.S., in Arizona, and it goes through Utah and Nevada. So
interesting.
I don't know what... but I do remember reading an article, and I'm sorry I don't know where the article is, and I can't back up the mainstream media story, but it did say that CERN came out and admitted, and I read the article actually on the show, I'm sorry, and they said, CERN comes out and admits that the collider has opened up a portal for them to communicate with other beings.
Yes, and have you ever seen the rituals they do? Apparently there's videos of rituals that they do before they fire that thing up.
Well, what they did is they had this huge opening ceremony. And I'll play a little piece of it because we got a little time before Jen comes up here. And it was as creepy a thing as
there could be some ceremony they did in France for the Olympics or something. You know what I mean?
What?
Well, I'm just saying, I've seen that video, and you wonder if it's real.
Oh, it's real.
Yeah.
It's real, all
right.
right.
Real, but is it really at CERN, or is it someplace else doing something else, and they just say that it's at CERN?
Well, from all accounts, this is CERN.
Yeah, from all accounts, but are they in front of the building that says CERN? I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that it isn't. You gotta question every
The next part of the ceremony begins outside and follows more or less the same narrative. Workers are hoisted up the projected rocky wall, only to fall back down to their demise.
Partying and say, yeah, we were at the Luxor in Vegas, but we're really just in the living room. You know?
Yeah, I don't know if people have seen this or not. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up, actually. The part one, this is part one right here. And it's the creepiest thing you could ever freaking see. And I get the whole art thing and all that stuff. And, you know, I'm all for art and I'm all for doing crazy, weird, dark shit.
Yeah, like occult art.
Yeah, I'm totally down with
like heavy metal.
Yeah, like Rob Zombie kind of shit. You know, I love that shit.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. But look at this shit. Dude, this is just like, and this is for a collider? I mean, it's like, how does this fit the narrative? And you have so many like wealthy people in the audience that are just going right along with it, like nothing's wrong. But check this shit out. It's wild, dude. It's so wild it's indescribable. You have to watch it. I don't know if I get. Let me know if I get a copyright. What do you want, Heather? What do you? Hold on. Heather's trying to get my attention.
Actually at CERN.
Well, this is outside of CERN. This is at the completion of the tunnel.
That, other than they said it was.
Well, I mean, how do you know anything is anything?
No, true. However, just in this case, watching this video.
Yeah, well, there's signs on the part 3 that say CERN, and this is a CERN ceremony. So as far as we know, I mean, but I just want to show it and just show you how creepy it is.
No, that's cool.
It's very well. Yeah, it could be anything. You're right. You're 100%.
Be very careful when you watch videos, especially now with AI. You got to look at their feet, their eyes, and their fingers. Now, this isn't AI, but how do we know this took place at that facility unless there's a big sign in the background that says CERN, or they're wearing a CERN name tag or logo? I mean, they got orange suits on. This could be some music video for Pink Floyd.
Are we not men? Somebody referred to Devo. I totally thought this was Devo at the beginning. But yeah, it's let me just kind of fast quick through it here.
This looks like what we were watching last night on the halftime show.
That's what I'm saying. I was saying that it looked.
Uniforms.
It's like they were trying to pull off a fucking ritual on us and making it look like the American flag or whatever.
Yeah, I've seen a couple people go through it and say this and say that. And
well, that's the thing. I mean, even if you think it was somewhere else or whatever, the time did coincide with them finishing the tunnel. Here's the workers coming out of the tunnel. Here are the benefactors of the people that put forth the funding for the tunnel. So I mean, the pieces fit. I don't.
It says that, but I don't. It looks like a tunnel, but it could be some kind of a production that was for something else.
Yeah, I don't see that. I'm not questioning you. I'm not questioning this though either. Well,
I'm not saying that it's not real.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's the shoe fits on it, and
I'm just not going to automatically believe it unless I see hardcore proof.
Well, this is 10 years ago.
Now the one that you're showing right now, I've never seen this one. I saw a different one. It was on a rooftop. Yeah, type in rooftop CERN ritual.
Well, I just played a piece of that a minute ago.
Oh,
this one is a bit more curious, I think, than the other one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I know I'm watching it 10 seconds behind you.
Yeah, I had the rooftop one, and that's really weird, and it's got some demonic shit, but this one really takes it to the next level, dude. And you know, of course, they hire these artists to go crazy and do a thing, but it's just like it's almost like they're telling you, yes, we are contacting demons here. You know what I mean? It's just like, here, it's in your face. We told you because we have to tell you, and that's what they're doing. It just gets so freaking weird. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's something, all right.
Heather wants you to talk about your mushroom tea. Don't.
Oh, well, I'll just say this. It is Monday night.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
Portobello Monday.
Portobellos are fine. I love portobello. You know those truffles?
Yeah, I'm eating one right now.
Truffles are good too. Sometimes. Have you ever had one? Those chocolate truffles are pretty good.
No doubt.
So this is when it starts getting really wacky. And I mean, you've got the billionaires of the billionaires sitting in the front row, the Astors and the Guggenheims, and I'm sure all those rich Europeans.
Well, I don't know. I didn't see any of their name tags or credentials.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what it does look like. A Behemoth video.
Yeah. Or one of my videos, right? Where I'm hanging upside down.
Some satanic death metal band video is what it looks like.
So you got the people over there in the ascots and all this shit.
Well, I see a bunch of suit and tie guys, but I don't know who they are.
I'm sure somebody could. They should. This would have been great with one of those South Park narrations, you know, like play-by-play, like, there he is, the president of Somalia.
Yeah, who are those guys?
And it'd be like, and he's eating a child as is tradition. It's like, what the hell? So here comes the goat. Eagle goat. That's some kind of Masonic symbol, I think. This is even weirder in fast motion, man.
Yeah, I've never seen this one.
Oh, this one's wild, dude. I mean, when I made my mom watch it, she's 90 years old, you know, and she was like, "What am I watching?" I'm like, "This is for CERN. What's CERN?"
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Look at this shit, dude. Hey, Sandra. How you doing? Typically Unique. I didn't say hi. I'm sorry. We started at the Olympic Games, and we're going to have Jenn on here in a minute, but me and Rochford got talking about CERN in this opening ceremony they had. What was this, in 2015 or 2010? It's been a while now. 7 years ago. So, 2017.
This is an awfully big production.
Well, I mean, I can understand a big production. It was a big deal to do it. But with all the dark imagery, it doesn't seem necessary to me. I don't know.
It doesn't seem scientific.
Maybe that was the point. Maybe it was just to be anything but scientific and just be completely artsy.
Well, think about it. When you listen to these astrophysicists talk about physics and astronomy and all that, and they joke around about the old myths of, you know, the Greek gods, but yet scientists pay for this kind of a production before they do an experiment. I don't know. That doesn't add up to me. I think this is some production, and they said that it happened at CERN.
Well, I think that this is... Okay, have you ever seen Cirque du Soleil?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't go, but I've seen clips. Yep.
I got to go to one of their things, and this is basically what it is. It's like ladies hanging from ropes and people jumping off trampolines and walking, you know, street magic and stuff like that, or street acrobatics. And
performers.
Yeah, and it seems like they hired them out to do their wacky thing. But
it's definitely not the scientists doing the choreography.
The scientists are just the cheerleaders on the side, right?
Right. And, you know, maybe they just paid for this performance. You know?
Maybe it was just somebody's crazy idea. But there's just, you know, with all of the mystery and questions that have surrounded it, for them to use this imagery was in my opinion a bad look. And you know, you'll see how crazy this shit gets, dude.
In my opinion, it's a psyop. I think they want us to think that CERN is opening up some portal. And it might be. If they were opening up a portal, I doubt they'd have a great big production like this to make us all think that it's a portal, you know?
Well, it harkens back to the fact that they have to tell us what they're doing. They have to say outright, and sometimes they do it in movies, sometimes they do it in speeches, whatever it is. They have to tell us openly what they're doing. And if we don't do anything about it, then that's our own fault.
I get that. I know that train of thought.
Right.
But this production's a little bit over the top. You know, because the scientists could come out and just say an equation. Nobody knows what the equation is, but he's telling you, we're going to open a portal. E equals mc squared plus 3 minus 2 plus 666. Oh, yay! Nobody gets...
Not the emojis.
But when you're doing a great big performance that nobody understands, how's that telling you? You know what I mean? They're not telling me anything. It just looks like a bunch of weird occult-looking stuff. They're not telling me what they're doing, so...
Yeah, I don't know what the message is, bro. I'll be honest with you. But
it just looks dark and evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's the message. We're doing something dark and evil, and here's our production.
Yeah, it would seem like you would glorify it more with, you know, what happened to the days of just having fireworks and a parade?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Why can't we? Oh, here we go. Here's the happy-go-lucky Alice in Wonderland part. And then these people get wiped out, I think, like in, what's that kid's video? Oh, that's the Pope, look. So they have the Pope coming through like a clown. He's literally in a clown car.
Huh. Is that the Pope?
Well, it was like a bishop, or he looked like the Pope, yeah. Not that guy. That's like Heidi's dad.
Okay, I see it now. I'm like 10 seconds behind.
There he is. Yeah, you'll see him again in just a second.
Yeah, he had the fish hat on.
Right. And they're like, look at it, honk, honk. They're like literally in clown cars. So,
if you want to go down a wormhole, look at the Pope's hat and see where that came from.
Oh, there's all kinds of crazy stuff with that Vatican, man. I tell you, that's a whole.
No, but
that's a whole
one
episode for
symbol
sure.
Has gone through the ages, kind of like the swastika.
Well, you know, yeah. There's just you don't get me started on the Vatican, man. Oh my gosh.
I heard that, bro.
So much imagery here, though, dude. It's just nuts, man. I don't know. It could just be a celebration of splitting the. What it looks like to me with the clown cars and the thing, it's mocking religion and saying science was the way to make everybody happy and set everybody free. Now look at how everybody's jubilantly. They've gotten rid of religion now, and they're celebrating because of science.
Well, I have a feeling that the portal that they're opening.
Okay, wait. The backs of their jackets, the Dickies, one-piece jackets say CERN on the back. Right there.
Oh, they do.
It says CERSA, which I believe is the company that does CERN, and they have the picture of the mountain where CERN is. I froze it right there. You'll see it in a second.
I was going to say
my big fat head, and you'll see it.
But what I was going to say is, if they're doing this big thing to tell us, and they're opening a portal, maybe they're telling us that there are gods, angels, and demons, because in the UFO world, that's what they're starting to think. These aren't little green men from another galaxy. These are interdimensional beings, gods and demons. They're good and bad, and they are like orbs and little green men, and some are good, some are bad.
That's kind of why I brought up that Doritos commercial, because ever since E.T., they've tried to present the ETs as being our friends and you had that movie Paul, where the alien was Seth Rogen's buddy, and now they have the commercial where he's eating Doritos with the gray, and it's all part of the. It seems like they're trying to warm you up, but I definitely think UFOs are demonic. There may be good ones or maybe evil ones, but weren't you saying something about how the aliens themselves were just like biosuits, like robots?
Oh yeah.
And the drones were the actual beings.
The orbs. Well, whatever they are, it's almost like the little gray aliens are like little Tesla robots, but instead of metal and steel, they're made out of biological material.
Right, which is funny because
the orbs control them.
That's so weird. Yeah, but it's funny because that is exactly what like Meta and all these companies are projecting that we do, is to put our consciousness into a hard drive, and that you'll have eternal life through a computer by living through a sim, or like you could just sit in your house and you would have a robot that's you out in the world, and you control that robot and it does your work for you. And it's just ironic that that's one of the things that they are. Yeah, there's the CERN tunnel right there. That's both ends of it.
Or it's a big warehouse.
It's one of those flag warehouses from Scientology.
Well, it's probably in Hollywood.
Well, this looks like what is it? France and Sweden and Switzerland.
Well,
that's not Hollywood.
Looks a lot different. That's a railway, man.
That is not Hollywood, though. I'll tell you that right now. They don't have mountains that big in Hollywood.
No, they got warehouses that big, though.
Yeah, but those mountains are real for sure.
Well, yeah, those ones are.
That's the Alps right there for sure.
But that's a train.
Yeah.
That's not CERN.
Well, the train was what went through. They had to complete the two sides. That was anyway. All right, so it continues on to get weirder and weirder. There's 3 parts to it. If you guys want to check it out, it's pretty wild. All right, I'm going to try to get Jen up here, and then I'm going to shut it down. I was supposed to be done by 9, and I'm still going here.
I didn't even look at the time.
So, yeah, I appreciate you being on, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
And we'll get back at it in a few days, bro.
All right, sounds good, dude.
All right, have a great night, man. Thank you.
All right, take care, everybody. See you later, Kane.
All right. Let me see what Heather's got here. And hold on. We got low audio. Oh, wait.
His viewpoint.
Yeah, this is low audio again. Let me put some audio on this thing here. Boost it up a little bit. Boom. Okay. Do that. That ought to take care of that.
Welcome to a super edition of Viewpoint. I'm Joe Paris. Maybe an odd place to start this morning, but I've always loved watching super teams come together. Unlikely crossovers that are uniquely positioned to take on incredible ideas. In the fiction world, the Avengers come to mind. Sports, the 96 Bulls. Music fans once have the Highwaymen and the Traveling Wilburys. Those are fun examples, but the state of Idaho is set for an impactful and innovative new partnership that'll set the gem state apart. This week, Idaho National Laboratory, Idaho Universities, they put together the final pieces of an academic trifecta, joining forces with Boise State, Idaho State, and the University of Idaho.
I was looking at this,
it's a calculated move to merge the intellectual firepower of academia with the practical prowess of one of the nation's premier research laboratories, and the strategic understanding for premier education and research. The super agreement is essentially creating an intellectual particle accelerator. Picture this, ambitious and excited students working alongside seasoned professors to collaborate with INL's veteran researchers, all working to crack the code on next-generation energy solutions in building digital fortresses around our critical infrastructure. It's where the theoretical brilliance meets practical application, a fusion, if you will, of academic insight and real-world innovation. Not just to keep the lights on and enjoy some fun, but to keep America's energy future burning bright and secure. And joining us here this morning, we have an unbelievable panel. This is all basically the university presidents of our public universities, as well as the director of INL. Just to introduce everyone, we have INL Director John Wagner. Good morning, Director Wagner. Sitting right next to him, no relation, Dr. Robert Wagner, president of Idaho State University. Dr. Marlene Trump from Boise State University. And all the way up north, University of Idaho.
They could really use some intellectual particle acceleration, let me tell you what.
President Scott Green. We'll start, though, with Director Wagner. The super agreement.
Oh, this is what I was looking for.
What is the super agreement? I know I touched on it, but what is it and how did it really come together?
So first of all, thanks for having us. This is really great to be all together with you. So the super agreement, strategic partnership for strategic university partnership for premier research and education. This is a targeted, very strategic set of agreements with each of the universities. It really takes our long-standing partnership at the laboratory to the next level with each of the universities. And I couldn't be more excited to have signed these agreements and moving forward towards execution.
For the university presidents, I mean, when did this first get on your radar? Was this kind of just like a dream scenario? How did it come true?
Well, it really was John's leadership, right, and vision. And I remember, I think he called all of us.
Thank you for
let us know
memberships.
That, this is where we'd like to take the lab, and this is how we'd like to bring all of the universities into this. And I just remember it being a brilliant vision. I signed on right away. So,
holy Botox, dude! I was wondering what Trish was talking about. What did they do to his face? And she was talking about a pompadour. Holy crap, it's like they cut out the sides of his head right here.
We're just very excited about it all.
He looks
in
like
terms
Beavis.
Of the practical application of this program, how do you see this playing out at Boise State and I guess in general terms as well?
Well, each of us takes our specific research expertise and the kinds of partnerships we already have with the lab, but it allows us to really amplify those. And so what we're doing is creating a lot of joint opportunities for our faculty and their researchers, the students that you described working alongside them. And in our case, we're looking at materials in extreme environments. We're working on cybersecurity. And what we're interested in is how can we actually develop materials that'll work in a nuclear environment so we can produce more secure energy for the future.
And when you talk about a major partnership like this, I mean, what excites you most about having the perspective of not just getting to work with each other, but having it be meaningful work that will actually make a difference moving forward for the state?
Sure, Joe. First of all, Idaho State University, as well as our sister institutions, we've been working with INL for decades. It's been a tremendous benefit to this state. What these super agreements do is it really focuses our attention for the next generation of research that's going to help make America secure when it comes to energy, to cybersecurity. At Idaho State University, for us, it's critical and strategic materials. It is environment and environmental and energy security. These are ways that our faculty can focus their research efforts alongside INL, very skilled professionals. And then you bring students in and graduate students in. So we're not only doing work now that's going to really support our economy and the position that we're taking in the world in these areas, but we're also training the next generation by bringing graduate and undergraduate students in.
From an INL perspective, I think the easy question is, what do you guys get out of this? Why are you in this situation? For the universities, you could kind of assume their perspective, but for INL, I mean, this is a generous thing to do.
Well, it's not. It's in our overall best interest. So let me start. I should have probably said earlier that we've had long-standing relationships. I want to make sure that's clear. When you look at our over 6,000 employees, nearly 1,800 of them have a degree from one of these 3 institutions. I mean, think about that. That's more than a quarter of our total workforce has a degree from one of your institutions. And so workforce development collaboration is something that we've already been doing. What we're really looking to do is continue all these great things. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of those things, but take it to the next level with a very strong focus in these areas that have already been mentioned. Research dollars need to go further. We've got clear signals from the nation in terms of what we need in terms of energy dominance, energy security, critical infrastructure security. Nuclear energy is a part of that energy mix. And so what this enables us to do is continue all that collaboration that we're already doing, but really put an extra focus on these areas that are particularly important for the nation and the planet
Anybody that works
today.
with green I think you highlighted a major point. It's not a brand new partnership in terms of Idaho just working with universities for the first time. Long-standing tradition. When we talk about these specific areas of expertise, let's start actually with the University of Idaho. What areas is U of I kind of working at, and what do you guys hope to excel as a part of the super agreement?
Yeah, so nuclear waste management is one of them, and reducing the amount of nuclear waste that comes out of these systems. Integration of nuclear systems. For instance, we are working with INL on 3D printing of parts that are used in these, molten salt reactors. Really cool stuff. And then, around, power engineering around the cyber infrastructure and our utility system. We actually work with SEL right now they have these no-fault power lines. So in other words, their relays will actually turn off so they don't cause fires, when they break. But that also creates some vulnerabilities. So we actually build cybersecurity into the hardware itself, so that those can't be used for nefarious purposes. So we want to protect the entire transmission of infrastructure of the United States, and INL, we can, that's kind of our mission with them.
From up north down to Pocatello, Idaho State, what do the Bengals and the students there hope to focus on?
Sure. So.
Oh man, talk about a dystopian future, you guys. Scott Comer Green protecting the interests of the United States. Oh, no.
First of all, the super agreement specifically talks about critical and strategic materials and minerals, as well as environmental and energy security. I do want to mention that I am sure with the other institutions as well, we'll continue to do the other great research that we are doing, whether it's nuclear research with INL related to biology, chemistry, safety. For us at Idaho State, though, to have these 2 areas, knowing the importance of critical and strategic materials and minerals to the United States, making sure that we really lower our dependence on these materials in other countries, that we find them here, that we
research, but with INL and everybody coming to the table, how do you see that playing out in the coming years?
Well, INL's been an incredible partner, I think, for all of us in creating research. And I think John's vision is that, we become a nuclear powerhouse as well, and an energy powerhouse. And I think we're all striving to do that. What really isn't known is that they've already helped us in that regard with our research. We can acquire great faculty because, INL literally gives us their old supercomputers, which, by the way, are some of the fastest supercomputers in the world, and they give us access to all of that, and that's incredibly important for our modeling, for the AI that we've been building on our own campus. It's a tremendous asset, and we're very grateful to INL. As John said, we've all been working with them a long time. I think they opened in 1949. We had a relationship then. I think he said we started teaching there in 1953. This is just a new phase, and he's got the vision, and we want to be part of it.
We're going to take a real quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the student interaction, the workforce development.
So tight that I'm literally waiting for something to tear. Hey, Heather Kane, how you doing? Nice to see you.
the dark basement in one of these buildings. And
Sorry, I had it muted. I'm going to rewind it. Man, if you thought Scott Green couldn't get any faker,
engineer
here's your
without
proof.
understanding the critical cyber elements of that.
And I know that up at the University of Idaho, you guys are already working in the field. Tell me about what the students are working on up there.
Yeah, so we have an undergraduate, graduate, now a PhD program. But one of the first things I did when I joined the university, I had the opportunity to visit Idaho Falls, where John has mentioned, we have students there, and we have a master's class, and we have something called an attack and defense lab down in the basement, down in the dark basement in one of these buildings. And I went down there, and they had, monitors like this all over the place, and it looked like war games. I mean, things were being attacked, and they had all these coffee pots along the side. And I just thought it's because they were working late. And I asked, well, what are the coffee pots for? He says, well, we reprogram the thermal dynamics of those coffee pots to replicate nuclear cores. And if we lose one, they go off. And it was just remarkable. And I'm watching these students with these war games, and I have to tell you, we're in very good hands in this country. It just makes you feel really good that these folks are trained. They can go out right now and help protect our utility infrastructure.
And I know that there are times we get questions from the community about what is the future going to look like? What are the kids of today doing? I know in Idaho we talk a lot about career technical. We talk a lot about post-secondary plans. I know a major conversation at the legislature this year and previous years has been about workforce development. When we talk about this program and the actual tangible difference that our students and professors and our professionals can make moving forward with this, what kind of comes to mind in terms of the vision out there?
Sure. These agreements really represent a trifecta. It's industry working with public higher education supported in meeting the needs of state government. It's those three entities working together that really demonstrates the value of public higher education, the vision that our governor's office and legislature has for this state, for economic development, for growth of our workforce. The bottom line is the state of Idaho is going to need workforce. And at our institutions, we are committed to providing that workforce. So at our campus in Idaho Falls, our campus in Pocatello, as we're not only working alongside and doing research, but we're also training the workforce, the growing workforce that INL needs, that other industry partners need. So the state of Idaho is investing. It's investing in its future through supporting the public research institutions and our relationships with industry and the important role that INL plays in our economy for the state and for our country.
I'll throw a question out to the group because something came to mind with AI and the advancement in technology. I remember a professor my freshman year of college said, it's possible the jobs that you guys will have one day do not exist today. I guess maybe starting with INL, when you have these types of pipelines and these really bright young kids from Idaho, do you think the jobs of the future exist today, or do you think maybe that is a little oversimplification?
So first of all, the capabilities around generative AI, these large language models are stunning, and they're moving so fast. And there's kind of an excitement part of that, and then there's people that are concerned about that as well. And we don't have time to dive too far into that. But I would just say that the jobs of tomorrow will look different than the jobs of today. And what I continue to kind of think about when I talk to these these educational leaders and our research leaders is those who embrace these capabilities, those who learn how to use these capabilities to further their impact and their outcomes are going to be very, very successful. Those who don't actually could potentially be passed by. And so it's so important for not just my research staff, but our students in Idaho to understand what these capabilities are, start to get familiar with them, start to learn and apply them to whatever it is they're doing in life, because I think it's just going to be absolutely essential to their future.
Now, Dr. Trump, I'm curious. I know a lot of Boise State students, and they're going off in all kinds of different directions. How do you think this type of agreement positions your student body moving forward to adapt as the workforce does in real time? As it's highlighted, you don't want to be left behind.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that one of the things John said that's really important is these tools, these new tools that we have are changing the world that we live in. And you asked Joe, does it mean that someone's not going to be prepared when they go out in the workforce because there are all these changes? Well, we're all trying to integrate that into our curriculum, but just as importantly, we're not teaching, like if you simply graduate an engineer, when that person walks across the stage, if you're just pumping knowledge into their head, they get that diploma in their hand and everything's changed because the world is moving so quickly. So what you have to do is teach them to think like an engineer and to be an innovator and to be able to take up those new tools, because then they're prepared for anything. So what we're all doing and what we're striving to do for our students all the time is give them access to these tools, but most importantly, teach them how to be thinkers and learners so that they're ready for anything that comes next.
I imagine one of the questions our audience will be wondering as we do come to an end of our show here, unfortunately. I'm told we have 1 minute, so quickly, maybe just around the table. How quickly do you think this program will result in tangible differences?
I think it already is.
Okay, already is?
It is making an impact right now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so look at this. We got everybody at the table agreeing on one big subject. We can do sports and academic battles another time. But again, thank you so much. This is such a privilege to have all of you here physically at the table together. I would love to do this again sometime. So maybe we'll figure out another big topic and we can always circle back to the super agreement. Of course, we will be following this and we could have some more info for you as it becomes available at ktvb.com.
All right, everybody, we got Jenn from Criminal Confidential in the house right now. Welcome in, Jenn. How you doing?
Hey.
Nice to see you. How you been?
I've been good.
Yeah?
How about you?
I'm doing good. Doing really good. Who needs conspiracies with shit like that? Who needs conspiracy theories? What did Green do to his face?
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Dude, bro, that is some shit.
He's got some height on his hair. I wonder what kind of products he uses.
And it looked like part of his temple was removed when they cloned him or something.
It looked, he was very shiny too.
Wow, yeah, it looked like his skin was gonna rip if he smiled. It looked like his eyebrows were painted on. Maybe he had the bushy ones removed. I don't know.
Look, he had a scar on his eyebrow too. I wonder how he got that.
Was there a scar?
It looked like it.
Let me go back and look here. Here's a good close-up of this fucker. He looks like he literally got his ass beat. Like he just got out of chem treatment or chem peel. And, oh my God, he looks even more like Mr. Heat than he did before. Oh my Lord. Thanks. I saw the article and I didn't read it, and then I saw the Heather had it and I kind of skipped over it. And it's ironic that we were talking about CERN. What do you think about that CERN stuff that we're watching?
Yeah, that is just not on brand for like any kind of scientific endeavor. Like, I don't get it. Like, it was creepy.
Nuclear mutation, Gemrock said. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, you wonder how much Scott Green is making off this deal. And they're like, oh, hey, we know you enrolled in business, but let's get you working on this tunnel. Let's get you out there digging.
Like, he took a huge pay cut to take this position. I don't think he's that selfless. You know what I'm saying?
He's
like,
definitely not. It's a power. It's now we can see
coming for him.
Yeah, he wants to be future leaders of America here. It's a power thing, obviously, and his image is obviously very important to him because God forbid he age a day. I forgot what I was going to say now. Damn it! Hold on. Sorry,
I forgot. I'll remember in a second.
Well, I was saying how it was a power grab for him, and that he hasn't given up money for no reason.
Because he was like the head of like the alumni board, and he was heavily involved with the school even when he was in New York. So he's been pulling strings for a while, even if it was behind the scenes.
Miss Girl says Greenosaurus Rex.
Yep. He's got this something about Mary extras. Yeah, his hair's got some height. But you see what I mean with the scar? Like, it looks like he got into like a fight or something.
He looks literally beat up. I mean, I can pull up another image of him. And it really brings out the bags in his eyes. I don't know. You can see the Louis Vuitton on the bottom. That's what happens when you live in a black house on campus. And
didn't they build that house for him, like as like an incentive to come there?
I think it was. Yeah, they had a different
or like remodeled it or
house,
something.
and they rebuilt the black house for him, and it's all. I'm sure it's got all the latest Star Wars trappings that you could have as a president.
How does that house not have like a lot of cameras? You know what I'm saying?
You would think it would have one in every direction,
right,
inside
like coming,
and out.
like approaching and leaving. Speaking of cameras, okay, so you know how MPD was asking or going around asking everyone for camera footage from like 3 to 6 a.m. Right? You remember?
Of course, sure.
So I'm like sitting here, I'm like, well, why 3? Right? Because they were at the same time going around asking, you know, for more information on Ethan and Xana's whereabouts. Like, why would they start at 3 is my point, if they didn't even know where some of the victims were, you know what I'm saying? And that guy, Fraternity, I don't know how to say his last name, Kane, the guy who owns the Linda Lane building.
I think it's like Kane Franzelis or something like that.
Fraternity, whatever.
Frankenschmitz.
He, there was an article like early on where he even came out and said that he had given them footage from like 3 a.m. to noon, right? But then in the same breath, he said something about a white sedan at 2:45, and I'm like, why wouldn't they want the whole night? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That just made me think about that. It's like they purposely didn't want certain. They purposely cut out relevant times, in my opinion.
Well, we know that they did that with that the demolition yard or whatever it is,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, started early.
And that footage is missing. So explain that one, please, to us. And we were, I was thinking about you because I was playing that grub truck footage there, and I was thinking about how many times you've watched it, and I played the
an
little
embarrassing amount of times.
Well, yeah, but I played the little Bubbly Waters clip there, and I don't know if that had ever stood out to you like it did the way she pointed it out. You know what I mean?
Wait, remind me again, because there was one that she did recently that I did a while ago, and I tagged her in it, but I guess she didn't see it. Or what was it about again? Remind me.
Let me see if I can pull it back up real quick. But anyway, it was when. Here it is, right here. I'll just play it again real quick.
Oh, when he says round 1, right?
He says round 1, and then you hear a sheep.
Jermaine struggled for years with dental issues before.
In the. I'm sorry, I've got us both covered.
A sheep?
You hear a sheep sound in the chat, and
I don't remember that part.
Yeah,
well, you know who's the Sheep King, right?
Let me mute this.
Do you know who the Sheep King is?
Who is the Sheep King?
Brad Little.
For finally finding Nuvia. Listen to what he wanted most after his smile makeover.
Round 1.
His grandfather or his father, one of them, was known as the Sheep King because they slaughter sheep on their farm. Just a little tidbit of info. I'm full of random facts.
Here's the explanation by Bubbly, and then I'll play the video part.
House. What a cool name. And he says, hey, some dude yells round 1, and they all put it up, and they all pull it up on their phone.
Wait, I got it super loud because I have that gain thing on it still. Let me take that off real quick. Sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. So you've been healthy and everything? Everything good with you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Because so many people have been sick and so many people are back today. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're back and you're back.
Yeah, I've been fine.
Okay, so all right, I'll play.
At round 1, and they all put it up, and they all pull it up on their phones at 26:25 in your video, and Grub Truck video timestamp is about 1 hour 57 minutes 45 seconds. So, you guys, I pulled it up, lickety split. And man alive, he is not lying. So, playing this day, let me know. By the way, I can't find part 2. Do you have the link? New sub here. Well, welcome aboard, dude, man. And, yeah, you can ask my subs.
So here it is, Jen.
Yeah, the range of tacos is...
Okay, so I want you guys to notice, too, that these 2 Latino girls right here, they are the first ones to pull up their phone. They do it in the very beginning. In fact, I scrolled past that a little far, but you'll be able to see it because the video will be linked here, so you'll be able to see it. But they are the first ones, so they knew before the other people around there, from what I could tell.
Number 93.
Thank you.
Thank you. Grumpy. Yeah. St. Mill, if you're here at 2:30 when we leave and there's something, we give it to people. But
Grumpy or happy? One big burrito.
yes, sir. Would you like chicken or pork? No, got it. Grumpy or happy? 9.50.
Polar opposites, no between them.
That's interesting how Grace was just looking down at Molly's shoes, which is kind of funny. But look at Molly right there. I mean, it doesn't even, it's so weird how sometimes it doesn't even look like the same person. But you're going to see, like, I just stopped at where the girls, like Latino-looking girls over here, they were just holding onto phones, and they're starting to pull their phones out. And this is where the other group, on the other side, behind where they're ordering at the counter, they start getting animated and calling Xana and Xana. So that's about the time that Molly goes over and shows Joe the phone, and he pulls out his phone, and it's alleged that that's when the fight with Xana and Ethan was.
So, did you catch that? You're probably a seconds behind, but watch what you see.
So I'm not really. This
Watch
is
what?
all.
Watch what you see here when after they say round one, they go to Joe Vito, pulls out his phone, Hudson Lindau.
Yeah, they all pull their phones out.
Hold on.
Speculation. I mean, we don't really know anything. So it's just what we hear amongst all this kind of stuff that's going on, putting the times together as to what really did happen.
Thank you. Thank you.
I got one chicken taco right here for you.
And then Billy ordered 94.
No, that's too damn bad.
Thank you. Love it. All right, that's the line again.
So I was commenting on it before, and right here I have it frozen on what I think is a login screen. And so Jeff H. was up in here, and he was saying, oh, imagine college students with their phones. But I'm like, yeah, but there was a trigger. There was something that they all whipped their phones out and got very interested and animated about at the same time. And I said, if you want to focus on students and their phones, let's focus on the alleged 4 hours or 8 hours that Dylan Mortensen didn't do anything, and we had college students wandering around outside of the house. Then you can talk about.
I don't know if everyone knows, but what are the coincidences that there's a Mortensen and a Thompson working at the truck that night? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just crazy. I don't know if there's a relation, but I mean, come on. It's just it's too shady. And you know, oh, fuck. Never mind. Sorry. It's always.
Well, I didn't mean to get you off track. I thought of, like I said, I thought of you when I played that video, and so
I'm trying to find this video that I have. It's another instance. You know that when the computer voice is like v that part. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Okay, so I might have deleted it. Okay, it's all right. We'll go. Oh, here we go. Let me post a link real quick for you. Hold on. I posted this for Toes one day because we were talking about something in a comment, but hold on. Okay. I'm posting a link right now. 1 second.
Oh, you're good. Damn, dude. I'm already on 3 hours. And I feel like I just got started. I tell you, this show, I don't know why it's like that. And it's... Yeah, where's Toesies today? Okay, so is this one of your
We do
vids here?
7 minutes a day until March 1st. We start on Monday, February 10th.
You want us to watch this?
In a week.
Yeah.
For reference, the worker with the beard is Joe. The short, stocky worker is Eric. Tall guy with
we've watched
glasses
this
is Luke.
before, yeah.
And the guy with the hood on is Tebow. There is a lot going on at once, but let's start with the lower right quadrant. Joe stands up and does something on the stove that causes a big flame. At the same time, Tebow and Luke both turn and look in the same direction. Derek asks Joe if he's feeling warm, and the V sound starts. Now look at the left quadrants. At the same time this is happening, Joe V holds up his Coke can in one hand and his ticket in the other. Also, everyone pulls out their phone. It's just odd, in my opinion. Also, if you look at the top right quadrant, Joe seems to put his hands right in the fire. I just don't see how it's possible to do that.
put his hand right in the fire? Jen?
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, how does he, like, how?
At the top right quadrant.
Oh, I
Joe
see.
seems
Yeah,
to put
this
his
is
hands right
this
in
is
the
what you were
fire.
talking about. Yeah.
I just don't see how it's possible to do that.
Hold on, let me play it back.
Now look at the left quadrant.
Flip it to normal.
At the
not-
same
not
time this
backwards.
is happening, Joe V holds up his Coke can
So you
in
can
one
see the
hand
chat.
and his ticket in the other.
On the bottom right corner.
Also, everyone pulls out their phone. It's just odd, in my opinion.
It's the bottom
also,
left
if
for
you
the
look at
viewers.
the top right quadrant,
Yeah, can you make
Joe
it
seems to
regular?
put his
You
hands
don't
right in the
flip it,
fire.
it's
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
I just don't see how it's possible to do that.
Make it normal. There we go.
Oh, they did get me on a copyright for the last video we played, by the way.
Sorry.
It's okay. He didn't remember. But it's no big deal. It's just that I don't like getting the copyright things and...
But it's not a copyright. It's a copyright. It's a claim. It's a content.
Right,
it's not,
but
it's not a copyright.
if I take care of it, then we lose the chat replay. That's the only thing that bothers me. I don't care about the YouTube stats.
We'll talk about it later. Play it normal. Did you flip it back to normal?
Yeah, it's back to normal now.
Okay.
There is a lot going on at once, but let's start with the lower right quadrant. Joe stands up and does something on the stove that causes a big flame. At the same time, Tebow and Luke both turn and look in the same direction. Derek asks Joe if he's feeling warm, and the V sound starts. Now look at the left quadrants. At the same time this is happening, Joe V holds up his Coke can in one hand and his ticket in the other. Also, everyone pulls out their phone. It's just odd, in my opinion. Also, if you look at the top right quadrant, Joe seems to put his hands right in the fire. I just don't see how it's possible to do that. V holds up his Coke can in one hand and his ticket in the other. Also, everyone pulls out their phone. It's just odd, in my opinion. Also, if you look at the top right quadrant, Joe seems to put his hands right in the fire. I just don't see how it's possible to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. What's this video? Heather?
Yeah, it's just like it all happens at the same time, and I don't know.
Yeah, I was definitely floored by the Bubbly Waters video. That I just, whoever pointed that out to her really was paying attention.
Yeah, I never heard the sheep before, but the round one thing, you saw my video on it. You don't remember the?
Yeah, no, I remember, and we were trying to zoom in on Vito's phone, and what I was saying on this one is that it very much looked like he was logging in, and then a video stream, and I was asking the viewers if they recognize that seafoam colored background from any streaming platform, like if it's Twitch or whatever one of these.
I don't know.
That would be, if somebody could identify that would be really cool. So how you been? What's going on? What do you got for us today, there, Scoop?
Well, okay, so the last hearing, right, when Anne was talking about the IgG stuff,
yep.
Did you catch when Hitler was asking her, basically, if Brian had submitted his own DNA, and if that's what she was asserting? Do you remember that, or do you want me to give you a link?
No, I remember. We've been talking about it.
Well, actually, let me give you the link, because it sounds like she's avoiding answering the question, like she's playing dumb, kind of. Hold on, let me. And then I remembered an article that said one of Brian's neighbors said that Brian had mentioned his ancestry and that he had taken one of these DNA tests, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know what the legal implications are, but it was just weird. Like, I wonder if that's true and he did do one of those tests, what is the change? And then why would Anne avoid answering that question? You know what I'm saying?
Like he already had his DNA in that database.
Then he would have a privacy claim, correct?
Well, the problem I have with that is I believe the FBI submitted his DNA as their own. And
meaning
so,
what? Tell me, explain.
Okay, if that would mean that it wasn't intended to I don't know. I guess you would still get the family tree genealogically, regardless. But I don't know. I guess they were trying. It seems to me more that they were trying to match the. Thank you, Dinah. Thank you so much. They were trying to match the DNA.
You think they matched him directly, and they're
Right,
trying to
right.
maybe as if they were just a customer.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was all done on the on the DL, and
It does seem awful quick. Like, doesn't it take a while to build these like trees?
I know that one of them advertises that they can do it rather quickly. I forgot what the exact time span was.
Right. Oh, here, I'm gonna post a link.
I think it was the Harvest or whatever, the Harvest My DNA or Harvest My Organs or whatever it's
You know
called.
what's messed up is these companies, right? GEDmatch in particular, or maybe it's Family Tree DNA, or maybe both. I have notes somewhere, but they charge a lot of money for these for access to their data. Hold on, I have it written down somewhere. It's a lot of money. Like, I think one of them charges it within 1 year it went from like $199 or something to like $1,000. One of them charges $1,400. And what's bullshit is that they're accessing people's DNA to solve these crimes, and like they're not making any money, but yet they're being bought and sold for hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, it's just bullshit. People should be pissed. Like, not only is your information getting put out there, but they're making money off everyone's information, and you're not getting anything for it.
Yeah, they're corralling us the same way that they did with the data from our phones.
Right.
They're underhandedly
it's a big
doing
business
it.
right now. That's all they want. It's like the space race, but in 2025. Now it's like the data race.
The data
Like,
race,
which
right,
country
right.
can get the most data? China is like hoarding and buying, DNA and any kind of biometric data, any kind of data on anybody in other countries. And some of these databases, these DNA companies have been hacked. It's
Yes.
just it's really scary when you really look into it.
And one of them went out of business, and nobody knows what happened to the data that they had on file
Exactly.
already. So what literally, when I lived in San Diego, they had dumpster divers, right? Dumpster diver, don't drop it on me. They would go, and offices would close, and they would have the cubicles, they would have all the phone systems and all that stuff, and these people would pick them out of the garbage, and sell them, and they made actually money off of it, and but also they've even done like 60 Minutes, where doctors' offices have closed, and what they do is when you close an office and you're at the end of your rope, you don't have any money to move anywhere else, they just end up throwing those medical files in the dumpster for anybody to get to.
Right.
And so, with this DNA race, that's the scary part. That is. And here's the other thing that's really bothering me is with Hitler asking for a mini DNA course in every single presentation of DNA. Can we just put together like a Disney video that shows you what this DNA is and where this is legal, where this is acceptable in court, what it means, what the different DNAs are, and just get it over with and find a standard and stick with the standard, and then start prosecuting people with it instead of just making it up every single time as we go along?
Well, here's my biggest question. I was looking over like some search warrants for other cases that they were trying to get the IgG information from the state, and they were refusing to give it, right? And I looked up like 3 different cases, and all 3 basically they did the IgG family tree, blah blah blah. Then once they had a suspect, they would retrieve the suspect's garbage or whatever, or just go to them and ask them for a cheek swab, which in one case the guy ended up killing himself. Crazy, right? Once he found out that they, were even looking at him. But it's just weird to me. Like, they could have asked WSU cops to, like, go in his office. They could have gotten his DNA. Like, why do they have to go get his father's? It just stood out to me because it wasn't the norm in the other cases.
Right, yeah, no, that definitely stands out as odd. There's so many things that Ms. Potts was talking about along those lines today as well, as far as the curtilage laws, and also I think it's a chain of custody issue.
Oh, for sure.
When you have the garbage people collecting the garbage, and they are they're handling it instead of the FBI, which I don't believe for a minute. I think that they're using that as a buffer to say that we didn't touch it. The garbage people got it, to get around the curtilage law, and then once it's in the private garbage truck's hands, then they can access it. And apparently they gave instructions to the garbage people about how to handle it. So are they deputizing garbage men and saying, okay, now you're officially FBI certified to handle curtilage?
Right, but I also wonder, because being that it was a gated community, like sometimes there's different laws, especially in like rural areas like that. There's different laws as far as like public streets, because in that community there's no. I didn't notice any like sidewalks. Did you? And I know you
there's no sidewalks. That's what I'm talking about. Curtilage laws it's the curb laws.
So it might be private property, and they might have to like outsource their garbage pickup through like a private company rather than like a city. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. No. They basically here's the thing about it. It's kind of a catch-22 because it's a gated community, but to law enforcement and first responders, they have an actual. You have to present them with a gate opener. Or they have a master gate opener that'll open any gate. So even though it's a gated community, it's still treated the same as if it was Morningside, Clearwater, with an open street going into it. You don't get an advanced privacy level just because you're in a gated community. As far as law enforcement,
you might if there's no.
As far as law enforcement, no, because they have to have access for fire, emergency, all that stuff without any kind of stopping. Now, the thing is why were they able to go into his yard and put cameras in the yard and then not be able to handle the garbage?
So the garbage is on the property. There's no sidewalk, so it's not on the sidewalk, correct? Or no?
Well, that's the curtilage laws is, okay, so even let's say if you have a sidewalk, usually what happens with that is you have your property from the sidewalk to your house, and then from the sidewalk to the street is technically the city or county property.
Right.
Or it may belong.
What do you call it? The easement or something, right? Easement?
What's that? Say again?
Oh, the easement. An easement?
The easement, yes, thank you, good guess. And so yeah, that once it's on that area, it's considered public domain, I guess. I don't know. That's neither here nor there to me. To me the fact that somebody else handled it is a chain of custody now issue, because technically the garbage men could have handed them anything. They don't work for the FBI.
What garbage what to take? It could have been anyone in the houses.
Yeah, and if they were worried about violating his father's rights, then why don't they just get out of the garbage when they saw him putting it in his neighbor's garbage cans?
Right, or why did they just get DNA from his apartment, which it could have had the property manager unlock it. He wasn't even in town.
Yeah, they
His
forgot.
office.
It's like when
they could have did it so many different ways.
exactly when he got to Pennsylvania, it's almost like they forgot about Washington and Idaho. It was this whole new business, and it had to be gotten out there to be able to be viable for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a there's got to be like a reason. Like I don't know. And speaking of chain of custody, like that's another big reason why they need all the information on the IGDs, because it went from, you know, Idaho State Police, right, to Texas, and then back to FBI. That needs to be documented. Like it's very easy to contaminate evidence.
Yeah, another thing that we've been talking about is the stair rail, which was revealed in the hearing, obviously, there. And somebody said that Kohberger, they went as far to say as Kohberger planted the DNA on the stair rail and the glove, but it's impossible that somebody planted the sheath with his touch DNA. If you're gonna go one way, you got to go the other. And I'll give you that. Maybe Kohberger had a vial of somebody's blood, and he put it in a glove and on the stair rail. But then you have to say, well, maybe somebody planted that sheath.
Why not leave someone else's blood on the knife or something? You know what I'm saying, or on the sheath? Like that would have been way smarter.
Yeah, and then we were talking about in Echo's chat today about Mabbitt's first interview, which we keep talking about, that first interview where she pretty much is going unbridled and speaking. And I don't know what the exact verbiage is. Heather was correcting our verbiage. Yeah, most apartment buildings have that, Heather. But it was that she was saying that it wasn't with one of the victims. I think with Kaylee, that it wasn't stabs, that it was like gouges, that they were open, large gaping
tears or something, right?
Gaping wounds, yeah. And so I've always thought it was a machete. The only kind of weapon I think that's a fixed blade, sharp weapon that you could pull something off like this with would be, to me, a machete. There's another.
I'm leaning towards an axe, honestly.
There's another theory I heard, which unfortunately I can't talk about right now, that made a lot of sense. Darn it, I shouldn't have brought it up.
Why can't you? Okay, all right.
But it had to do with something with Kaylee and Maddie and what they were doing at the time of the crime. And you can use your imagination.
Here's what I think happened. I think there's definitely two weapons. I think one of them is definitely an axe or some kind of like hatchet. I don't know.
Yeah, hatchet. Little Miss Hatchet.
I think if we're gonna believe that it's okay, I'm gonna help you, because that's a little weird thing to make up. Like, why? It's just random, you know. So I think that's one perp saying. I think there was at least two. They heard Kaylee and Maddie upstairs, and one perp said to the other one, "It's okay, I'm gonna help you. Like, chill, I got this." And happened to maybe have a knife already on them. So then there's two sets of injuries. You know, Ethan and Xana, it says sharp force injuries, edged weapon, axe, and then Kaylee and Maddie, it's described as visible stab wounds. So I think that it was two different attacks. You know?
Yeah, Ms. Potts, I'll highlight her comment. She's saying that a bushcraft knife is basically what I'm saying. It's something that, okay, with an axe or a hatchet, you swing it, it's a heavy swing, and it's going to stick into whatever you're hitting. Like, you know, when you hit with an axe into wood, you have to pull it out. With like a machete or a bushcraft, you're going to slice whatever. Are you familiar with samurai swords?
Of course, who isn't?
I'm not as up as a lot of people are, but did you ever watch Kill Bill?
Yes. Didn't they ask for like a dirk or dagger or sword or something on the search warrant? Remember that?
Say again?
Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Say again. I'm sorry.
No, on the search warrant for Brian's apartment, or maybe the one in PA, one of them, they were saying that, to look for a knife or sheath or dirk or dagger or sword. And I just thought it was weird. Like, if they knew it was a K-bar, why are they looking for a sword?
Well, okay, so before I forget, in Kill Bill 2, they talk about the different types of samurai sword. Okay, so Japanese steel, what a sword is steel folded over. And the more times that it's folded over, it gets sharper and sharper and sharper. And so, as the dynasties went through in Japan, you have different levels of samurai sword. And they measured them by how many bodies that they would cut through at one time. So with one swipe. Like with a samurai sword, you had a one person sword, you had a 2-person, and up to like 7 people could be cut literally in half with one swipe of the sword. That's how they measured the sharpness of that and the durability of that blade. And so that's why Miss Potts is saying that they were cutting watermelons in half with a bushcraft knife. That would be something that would be quick and effective and get the job done, so to speak,
Before someone can make too much noise and alert the others.
Right, and also leave a very gaping, mortal wound to the victim.
Right.
The knife, to me, it doesn't. It's like obviously there's 2 or 3 people involved. We got other people's blood.
Minimum 2.
Minimum. And there was 2 people involved in the killings. Let's not even think of a lookout or somebody, doing something else, whatever. And there doesn't seem to be any vehicles involved. I think that's where everybody is really kind of heading. That's the direction now.
Nearby, in my opinion.
It was somebody nearby, which we've been saying all along. And I was watching AR the other day, and I remember him saying that he's never been one for these conspiracy theories, and that he thinks that something along the lines of the feds wouldn't present evidence that wasn't true. Because when the feds...
Because they never do that.
Because when the feds came after him, they were balls on accurate. And I had to disagree with him a little bit on that. I like how you got the laugh out of that. I wasn't trying to be funny. Because the thing is, and he thinks that the feds, and he made some good points about how the feds have kind of done everything in this case. They've submitted the IGG. They babysat the IGG. They did the CODIS. They did the forensic testing, though, was done by who?
ISP?
By WSU State Police at their crime lab, right?
I didn't know that. I thought it was ISP.
No, ISP sent it to the lab. Yeah, it is ISP.
I thought they did it at the ISP lab,
but it was in Pullman. It was sent to Pullman.
You sure about that?
Pretty sure. Yeah. So, in my view,
why would they do that though?
There's two things. There's 2 things to this. In my view, I feel personally like the FBI did what it was asked and then distanced themselves from this case. And they even erased their work that they did to distance themselves. So now you can't reference them. But AR made a good point, is that FBI doesn't have to answer to anyone. They don't even have to show up at the trial if they don't want to.
Right.
So those answers may never come. It was in Meridian, Idaho. It has a crime lab. ISP is about to.
Yeah, that's good, Meridian.
Okay, I was confused. I could have sworn that I heard that it was done in Washington. Something was done in Washington. Is that where IGG is? Is it Washington? I don't know. Anyway, all right, I stand corrected on that. Go on with what you're saying. I'm sorry.
Oh, I forgot.
Great guess. All right, Jen, everybody. What else have you been thinking about?
So, I can't stop thinking about the search warrant in Washington, right? The one where Don Daniels had specifically asked not to consider the IgG information to issue the search warrant. Remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
Say it again.
So, in the search warrant for Brian's apartment, right? WSU officer Don Daniels, I'm pretty sure, 95% sure that's who wrote the search warrant, had written a supplemental disclosure to the judge and asked for the court to not consider the DNA test while issuing probable cause. So in their decision to issue probable cause or not issue probable cause, to not consider the DNA in case in the future it was ruled inadmissible. Do you know what I'm talking about? You want me to pull it up?
No, I know what you're talking about. And they had to try and invent another way that they had probable cause against Koberger.
Well, you know that the FBI instructs law enforcement departments across the country on how to go around mentioning the IgG when doing their paperwork. I have hold on, let me find the link for you. Hold on.
What, it's like a flyer or like an instructional manual?
It's a short little PowerPoint presentation.
PowerPoint.
No, but it's good.
No, I'm just laughing about the PowerPoint thing in the hearing.
It's not mine. It's hold on. I'm trying to find the link to it. Hold on. I see so much shit.
You know, I'm sitting here thinking about Green in that panel that we just watched on the radioactive thing, and so it seems. I guess Heather might have known more about it than we did, because I didn't know anything about it. That there's more to this university than we originally thought.
Agreed.
And what's that?
I said agreed.
And so I'm trying to wrap my head around and circle back on how that fits into. That seems like it's a very important role to him. And when you're working with the government and you're working with other scientists and other universities, you want to come in. You don't want all kinds of issues back at your school. You don't want to have a tarnished reputation. You don't want to have a bad green background. God, his face just killed me today. That alone was a big boom, Heather. Thank you for that. That was a good. I kept skipping over it. Chickbait, it's always great to have you. Translucent, nice to see you. Dynamite. Jen's looking up. So Tony Stevenson is here.
Thank you.
So it's just I'm trying to factor in because I wonder if the whole facelift thing was just to have a better image going into this transaction or brokering this whole deal with the other universities, because there's always a chance they could be like, well, University of Idaho is not going to work out. Let's try another university. So he will kick, scream, bite, and stab anybody that gets in his way of having that clean slate going in. It's all I can figure right now as far as this nuclear thing goes. What do they mean by if the coffee makers explode? What was that all about? Holy shit, dude. That was weird that we played the CERN thing too right before that. Jen, it always seems like when you're on here, everything just kind of comes together. It's funny like
Yeah,
that.
you know,
It's
I
like
have to be fashionably late.
it's well, though you're fine. I'm going longer than I gotta get to bed soon. I did drink a good cup of coffee a little while ago, so but I do got to try to get some sleep here because I got to work at 4 a.m. So
Hold on.
we'll do this one last thing with Jen, and then we'll be back. If you're
Oh, here,
enjoying
okay,
the
I have to
content
email it to you.
today, thank you for watching. I'm Kane B. Hit the subscribe button. Go ahead and let us know if you like the show or not, and come back and see us again. And we'll get this last thing here up with Jen, and I'm gonna say goodnight.
Okay, I'm sending it to you
everybody.
now.
You got it?
Hold on, I'm just attaching it to the email.
Let me close this little window here. Yeah, it's funny. It's funny like that how we come to stuff, and it's like, and you know, it's funny, Jen, because I've been watching different creators around town, and I'm like, man, they are literally making shorts out of all the shit that we've been saying for the last year and a half on this program.
I know.
And I'm like, well, I think it's great. They're listening, and I see it in the chats. I see people literally quoting us now as if as a reference of fact on so many things. And as we learn more things, all the stuff we're learning is only backing us up. 100%, I think. From what I've seen so far.
Okay, sent it. I emailed it to you.
What's that?
I emailed you. I just took a screen recording of the PowerPoint.
What's this PowerPoint from? Let me hide this so Trish doesn't freak out here. Hold on. Where is that? There we go. All right. And hold on 1 second here. It says couldn't preview. Let me download it. And we'll play it here. Oops, hold on. It must be a bigger file than my Google can handle. My Google. Let's see here. Shut that off. Put this up. Articulate PC without genealogy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's this FBI guy. He's like.
Oh, this is the thing. Okay, gotcha.
That like founded the genealogy IGG branch in the FBI. Started with the Golden State whatever killer, and then they retired and started this company in Idaho on the bottom left. Which, hold on, I gotta take a quick phone call. Continue.
Where are you going? What are you doing? Articulate PC without genealogy. This is where they got Sherlock Holmes. Probable cause should exist even yeah. Okay, it says probable cause should exist even if any reference to genealogy is redacted.
I mean, you see, like, they're instructing them to hide it.
They're saying they're probably going to hide it, yeah. And so you have crime scene.
Give me 2 minutes, okay? I gotta meet you for 2 minutes. Hold on.
Well, okay. All right. Your affiant learned additional DNA conducted during the first quarter of 2018 from the Smith semen evidence resulted in identifying a relative of East Area rapist. Subsequent... I thought I hit pause, sorry. Subsequent... Where'd it go? Investigation into the family lineage led to the identification of Joseph James D'Angelo Jr. as a potential subject. On April 23rd, 2018, a tissue was recovered from D'Angelo's trash can. Wow, this is right on. Located at his residence in Citrus Heights, California. The trash can was on the street in front of his house. D'Angelo was the only male observed at the residence during surveillance of his home, which has occurred over the last 3 days. The tissue was sent to the crime lab for DNA testing, according to to the crime lab, the DNA obtained from the tissue matched the DNA profile from the East Area Rapist DNA. Why is this thing here? According to the lab, a match between the tissue DNA and the East Area Rapist DNA octillion against more likely than a coincidental match from an unrelated individual. Okay, ditto. Let's see what else this has here. Come on. I can't fast forward it, unfortunately. Okay. So, STR collection methods. Trash collection, whose DNA can't prove a negative. Ruse, consent abandoned. An eating utensil, discarded cigarettes. That's another clue. Don't do. A search warrant with FGG as probable cause. Trespass, car door handles, etc. This is great.
Yeah. So this is like when they're going around teaching police departments about using IgG to solve, cases, they are showing them this.
And it certainly fits the profile of what we're dealing with, doesn't it?
Yeah. But,
wow.
The concern is this should be used for cold cases, but they're slowly using it for other cases. And, when they start to take over people's rights and, surveillance and all that, it's not all at once. You know what I'm saying? They start a little bit at a time.
Right.
And this is concerning.
They slip it in. They do.
It started out being for violent crimes. Then now they're, sneaking in other, they did a burglary. Someone who, was got charged with burglary. Like, to do IgG and someone to catch them, that's crazy.
Well, listen to this. Discovery, disclosure of genealogy prove the subject defendant committed the crime, not how the police found the subject. FGG is an investigative lead, not evidence for the case in chief. Does not aid in the defense, not exculpatory. Match lists and family trees, not relevant. That is exactly the playbook here. Exactamundo.
Yeah.
And see how the match lists and family trees are not relevant? That's what I was saying, that they weren't trying to match his family tree or match any DNA in the database. They were only trying to match the DNA that they submitted for him and from his father.
Right. But my question is, this story that came out early on, it was like right after he was arrested, from his neighbor that said that they had went for a walk and Brian had brought up, the neighbor of Brian's was, I don't know his name, but he was from another country. So Brian had said to him, can you guess my ancestry? Can you, guess my ethnicity or whatever, something like that. And he had guessed Italian, and Brian said, no, it's German, blah, blah, blah. And then he was talking to his neighbor about his ancestors, and he had taken one of those DNA tests. So I wonder if it was a direct hit or something like that, which would mean that he does have a claim to privacy, because if he uploaded his DNA, this is my understanding at least, I don't know, if he uploaded his DNA directly to one of these companies, 23andMe, blah, 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 whatever, then he would have a reasonable expectation of privacy. I don't know if I'm understanding it correctly. I'm not
let me read this part right here, Jen. It says, in the California Superior Court opinion 2019, the defense challenge is whether a law enforcement use of genealogy websites is an invasion of the privacy rights of users of the websites.
Right.
So Anne's not making this up off the top of her head.
No.
This is the common defense. So the defendant would be hard-pressed to establish his standing to challenge the violation, if any, of third-party privacy rights.
Unless he did directly upload his. But maybe that has something to do with why they went to PA and got his dad's trash rather than just getting.
It was a way of getting around the law. Yeah, because it was.
That's a way. I mean.
Now it's federal. Yeah, they tried to make it a federal case, and they tried to over dramatize it. But it says the defendant would be hard. They're literally telling you how to get around the Fourth Amendment violation. Literally.
That's bullshit, right?
I mean, it's...
If it's nothing, they could just disclose it to just the defense. It could be redacted to the public. Like, what's the big deal? If it's publicly available databases, like, and people knowingly, submitted their information, then, like, what's the big deal? Like, it's very fishy. Very fishy. Did you hear about the guy who got convicted, or charged, I guess? He didn't get convicted, I don't think. But he was charged with touch DNA under his fingernail, but...
Yeah, and then he was in an ambulance or whatever.
Yeah,
same
isn't
ambulance.
that shit crazy?
Well, the military doesn't accept the transfer DNA.
Yeah.
That should be enough.
They said they're like warning people in the military not to take one of those tests.
But you can see right here that they know this, and that's exactly why they did what they did. This ends all the questions of, why did they do this way? Here's why.
And that's exactly why.
Here's the playbook. This is Jen.
The search warrant for Washington. That's exactly why there was a supplemental disclosure saying, do not consider the DNA when issuing this probable cause warrant.
You know why? Because Payne didn't read the book. He had to be reminded.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's so fucking stupid that he completely ignored the guidance that they were giving him. Let me read this. Based upon the type of information law enforcement received from the genealogy website, the court finds that information received from the genealogy website is not evidence that will be used against him. The information would not assist the defense. As long as they don't use it, it won't assist the defense. Bam! What more could you ask for? This is literally the playbook that they use, dude. And this in itself, it should be considered a violation of the Fourth Amendment right here. Because they're literally telling you how to backdoor this shit.
Why can't the evidence just speak for itself? Why does there have to be these sneaks and tricks and games? Like, just show me the evidence. If someone did something, if someone killed 4 people, with a knife, there should be a lot of evidence. Like, people forget it's not what they claim to have, it's what they don't have. Like, this is crazy. These games are bullshit.
So here's a good breakdown. Rights to challenge genealogy testing. The defense claims that by not having access to the information, they are precluded from investigating evidence that may lead to admissible evidence as to the reliability of the testing. The failure of this argument is that genealogy testing is not evidence that the prosecution intends to introduce at trial and not relative or material to issues of guilt or punishment. The inability to evaluate the reliability of the genealogy company's work does not in any way diminish the defendant's ability to challenge the relevance evidence in this. That's a mouthful, but what they're saying is if you don't tell them where you got it from, they can't use it against you. They can't use it to defend themselves.
Like, why is the reliability of testing not important to both sides? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's bullshit. Like, how is that not relevant? Like, it is relevant to, even if, I know their argument is, well, regardless, eventually his DNA matched from his swab to the sheath. But still, it's just the point. It's the point. Like, we can't pick and choose when we're going to, follow the Constitution and when we're not. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, Jen, this is really amazing. I'm considering giving you a promotion with this one. You really nailed it. We could spend a whole night talking about it, but I gotta get some shut-eye. As it is, I'm probably gonna get 4 hours. So, and I need to be rested. I have been sleeping good, but everything's going good at the new job, so money's finally coming in. I can get everything going again, so I'm very happy about that. And thank you for being on tonight. As always, you brought it hard. Damn. That is, I know other shows are going to want to have you on and talk about this, because that was that power. You were like, oh, it's a PowerPoint, and I just laughed.
Yeah, God, what is she looking for?
Yeah, I know. It's always like that, isn't it? Oh, here goes Jen again, and then you come hard with it, man. I'm impressed. Well, thank you, and everybody, thank you for being in here, and thank you for all the work and the super chats and Meg P and Sudi and
Hit the like button.
Victorine, and we will see you in a few days. If you're new to the Purge, please hit that subscribe and join us next time. And that's about it. Thanks, and say goodnight, Jen.
Good night, Jen.
All right, we'll see you guys later. Have a great night. I'll let the chat run, and I'm going to shut it down.